Chapter 2857. Plus, Linny didn't have any items on him that could activate the 5 malevolent powers. He couldn't have known that she was here to accept the legacy, could he? That wasn't realistic with the Xiantian ancestor's personality. He wouldn't even tell the Xuanjian ancestor about it, let alone Boss Bai. With that thought, Tian-chan pouted and turned around, ignoring Lin Yi. All right, I'll take it that I've taken away your inheritance. I'll compensate you. Okay? Lin Yi said helplessly. How are you going to compensate me? Give me your attributes? Tian-chan glared at Lin Yi. I heard that inheritors can transfer attributes through dual cultivation. Lin Yi looked at Tian-chan's curvaceous body and said with a smile that wasn't a smile, dual training my ass. You're not an inheritor. You're just a practitioner of the 5 elements. There's a fundamental difference between you and a true inheritor, and dual training with you won't be able to transfer attributes. Tian-chan pouted. What a dirty and complicated way of thinking. Man, I was just saying, how would I know? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Fine. I'll forgive you this time, seeing that we've been through thick and thin together. Tian-chan said proudly. You don't need to thank me. All right, but what about her? Lin Yi was still worried about Chi-Chi. I said there's no way. Why does the test have to be 20 days? That's the reason. Tian-chan looked at Chi-Chi and asked expressionlessly, Who is she to you? Childhood friend. Lin Yi said. Childhood friend? Tian-chan frowned. Sort of. Lin Yi didn't hide it and nodded. Then there's no saving her. Tian-chan shook her head. Haze. Lin Yi sighed. Tian-chan knew the 5 malevolent wildlands so well. If she said there was no way, then there really was no way. Lin Yi stared blankly at Chi-Chi on the ground. He didn't think that their reunion would be a farewell of life and death. He regretted it. Regretting his cold attitude the last few times they met. Regretting that he didn't take good care of her. If Chi-Chi was really dead, how was he going to face his Shifu in the future? Even someone as strong as Lin Yi couldn't help but shed tears of pain at the thought of this. Men didn't shed tears easily, and Lin Yi was a practitioner. But this time, Lin Yi really was tearing. He couldn't do anything about his childhood friend's life. Lin Yi couldn't do anything about it. Tian-chan didn't think that Lin Yi would cry. But this 5 malevolent chi was indeed unsolved. The Sky Elixir sect wouldn't have such a restriction otherwise. Even if Tian-chan was the young master of the sect, there was nothing she could do about it. But seeing Lin Yi sad, Tian-chan wasn't in a good mood. She was a little uncomfortable about Lin Yi coming back to save Chi-Chi, but that was gone now. Tian-chan understood her identity very well. The chances of her meeting Lin Yi wasn't high. And so Tian-chan went into deep thought. She wanted to help Lin Yi think of a way to get rid of the 5 malevolent chi. Hey, don't cry, I have an idea. It should work. Tian-chan thought of a person. If they could find him, the 5 malevolent chi might work. What idea? Lin Yi asked, startled. The prerequisite is that we have to find Zhang Naipeo, and he has to be willing. Tian-chan said after some hesitation. Zhang Naipeo? Lin Yi blinked but understood what Tian-chan was getting at. Wasp absorption arts. That's right, the wasp absorption arts. The 5 malevolent chi is also a type of chi, so Zhang Naipeo should be able to absorb it. But I don't know if she's a spiritual practitioner or a physical practitioner. If she's a spiritual practitioner, she'll lose all her chi. Tian-chan said, She's a physical practitioner. It should be fine. Lin Yi looked at Tian-chan gratefully. Yeah, why didn't he think of that? Wasn't Zhang Naipeo's ultimate skill absorbing other people's chi? Then it should be fine. Tian-chan nodded. Tian-chan, thank you so much. Lin Yi didn't know what to do. Humph. Forget thanking. You need to think about how you can get Zhang Naipeo to help you. Even if you find him, he might not help you. Tian-chan didn't want to pour cold water on him, but Lin Yi and Zhang Naipeo were enemies. How could Zhang Naipeo help Lin Yi? Lin Yi frowned, but had to admit that Tian-chan was telling the truth. Yeah, why would Zhang Naipeo help him? Plus, he's in a crazed state right now. He's unconscious. How are you going to get him to help you? Tian Chan asked. That's right. Lin Yi's eyes lit up. Since Zhang Naipeo was in a crazed state, he could use that to get him to help. At most, they'd just go their separate ways and put down their grudges for later. What's right? Tian Chan blinked. I have some confidence that I can get him to help me. Let's go up first. Lin Yi said. Okay. Tian Chan nodded. Then, why aren't you taking off your clothes? Lin Yi couldn't help but ask after seeing that Tian Chan wasn't moving. Take off your head. That's a chest binding. I'll kick you. Tian Chan raged. Turn around. Can't you just turn around? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. How is that the same? If I turn around, you'll still be looking at me from behind. Tian Chan said angrily, Haha, even if I turn around, you wouldn't know if I peeked, right? Lin Yi smiled. Humph, don't you dare. Tian Chan clenched her fist. You don't want your weapon anymore? All right, you win, Lin Yi said as he turned around. Tian Chan quickly took off her chest binding and adjusted her collar before handing the cloth to Lin Yi. She didn't think that Lin Yi would fall off the cliff again, so she didn't prepare a rope. Here. Tian Chan handed the cloth to Lin Yi. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was quite familiar with the ropes. There was an extra young Chi-Chi this time, but she was petite and didn't weigh much. Lin Yi secured her to his body first before handing the rope to Tian Chan. Tian Chan tied the cloth to herself and turned to Lin Yi. Done? Can we start now? Chapter 2858. Tian Chan didn't say anything as she leapt up. This time, she was familiar with the route. Tian Chan didn't need to use any skills, and so she could jump twice. Lin Yi replenished his energy once more, and it didn't take long for him to reach the top of the mountain. Sky Class Late Phase Peak is the best after all. Lin Yi couldn't help but exclaim. He might be able to one-shot this and that, but when it came to actual strength, there was still a huge gap between them. At least you know your place. Tian Chan was proud of herself. Zhang Naipeo, where are we going? After walking out from the cliff, Lin Yi was a little lost. Putting aside the fact that the Five Evils Barrens was huge, just the spirit beast rampage alone made it very difficult for them to find a person in this situation. Don't we have Skybolt Pig? Tian Chan pointed at the pig and said, Skybolt Pig can not only find treasures, but it can also find people. Of course, its range is limited, and it's not as good as treasure hunting. But it's a spirit beast, and it can travel freely in the Five Evils Barrens. Once it finds Zhang Naipeo, we can go there with a goal in mind. Lin Yi was a little surprised. He didn't think that Tian Chan would be this smart. This was a good idea. He turned to Skybolt Pig. Skybolt Pig, I'll leave this to you. Oi, oi. Skybolt Pig nodded. He didn't help much when Lin Yi fell off the cliff. And now that Lin Yi was asking for help, he couldn't wait to show off. Skybolt Pig went to find Zhang Naipeo, and Lin Yi and Tian Chan temporarily set up camp at the bottom of the Five Evils Barrens. There weren't any spirit beasts here, and it was even safer than the safe grounds. You have a 5-element body as well. Tian Chan was a little surprised when she talked about Lin Yi's body. Aren't you the same? Lin Yi shrugged. Then why didn't you tell me before when I told you about myself? Tian Chan asked. At that time, we didn't know each other very well. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. If you're not familiar with me, then why are you touching me there? Tian Chan snorted coldly and glared at Lin Yi. Lin Yi was a little helpless, but he also knew that sometimes it was impossible to reason with a girl, so he could only say, All right, it's my fault for hiding this matter. Humph, that's more like it. Seeing that Lin Yi had admitted his mistake, Tian Chan suddenly felt very happy. Her previous resentment also disappeared. Instead, she was a little worried. Only you know about your physique, right? and a few people close to me. Lin Yi didn't understand what Tian Chan meant. What's wrong? Nothing. You'd better not reveal it or else. Forget it, just keep it a secret. As a former spy, Tian Chan had endured too much pressure from the Five Elements sect, so she didn't want Lin Yi to follow her old path. If Lin Yi was really chosen by the Five Elements sect, then he would also have to carry out that very dangerous task. This was not what Tian Chan wanted to see. Of course, if it weren't for our relationship reaching this point, I wouldn't have told you. Lin Yi nodded and said, and Tian Chan also nodded. By the way, I want to ask you something. The martial skill you used on the cliff before, was it the 5 elements 8 trigrams palm? Lin Yi hesitated for a moment and asked, yes, do you know this martial skill? Tian Chan was slightly moved. Can you teach me? Lin Yi nodded and asked. This Tian Chan couldn't help but be silent. She wanted to teach Lin Yi, but she didn't dare to. If she taught the 5 elements 8 trigrams palm to Lin Yi, and the 5 elements sect knew about it, the consequences would not only be her bad luck, but also Lin Yi and the Heavenly Elixir sect. So, for everyone's sake, Tian Chan didn't dare to take this risk. When she heard Lin Yi's question, she had already guessed it. Since Lin Yi had the physique of the 5 elements, it was reasonable for him to want to learn the 5 elements 8 trigrams palm. Hee, I was just asking casually. Actually, I know how to do it. Lin Yi shrugged. He didn't want to embarrass Tian Chan. He could see that Tian Chan had her own difficulties. Lin Yi didn't think that Tian Chan would choose to hide it if she could teach him martial skills. After all, Tian Chan was willing to give him a sachet and return to the 5 Evils savage land to save him. Lin Yi knew that Tian Chan had her reasons for being silent. You know how to do it? Tian Chan was stunned. Yes! Don't forget how Zhang Naipeo became crazy. I'm best at imitating other people's martial skills. Although it's not the same, it's 50% similar. Lin Yi smiled and said, I learned the 5 elements 8 trigrams palm from another person. Tag on along. Tian Chan knew that since Lin Yi recognized the 5 elements 8 trigrams palm, he must have guessed her identity and the relationship between the 5 elements sect. Although the two didn't say it out loud, they knew each other well. It's him. Is he okay? Lin Yi asked. He's not dead, but he's not awake either. Tian Chan shook her head, and Lin Yi nodded and didn't continue this awkward topic. Hey, why do I feel like we're not familiar with each other anymore? Tian Chan saw that Lin Yi didn't say anything and was a little annoyed. She thought that she was too bored to expose the fact that Lin Yi accepted the inheritance. This way, both of them would feel uncomfortable. Actually, I was thinking, why didn't you get injured again before? Lin Yi grinned. He also felt that the atmosphere was a little awkward, so he made a joke. Annoying. How could Tian Chan not understand Lin Yi's meaning? She rolled her eyes at Lin Yi and said, Why are you so dirty? Can't you be more serious? I was serious just now, and you said that I'm not serious. Now you say that I'm dirty. I'm really innocent. Lin Yi shrugged and smiled bitterly. But I didn't call you a pervert. Tian Chan rolled her eyes. Hey, tell me about you and your childhood sweetheart. You mean her? Lin Yi pointed at Yang Chi-Chi and nodded after some hesitation. However, it was selective. Some things that could be said would be said by Lin Yi, but the things that couldn't were left out by Lin Yi. The story was very plain and could even be said to be extremely boring, apart from training every day. There was only training, but Tian Chan listened with great interest. When Lin Yi finished, Tian Chan was surprised and confused. So, you're saying that you're a physical practitioner? You've never practiced spiritual arts since you were young? Chapter 2859. What? 8. Tian Chan's eyes widened, as she stared at Lin Yi as if he was a monster. You've already passed the best training period, and you're already at the late phase of Earth class? And you're even stronger than normal Earth class, or even Sky class. Are you sure you're not lying to me? Tian Chan couldn't be blamed for being weird. Most practitioners would start training from a young age, and rarely would they start training halfway through unless they had some sort of miraculous encounter. Otherwise, their meridians and bones would have already matured, and they wouldn't be able to achieve much even if they used medicine like the foundation-building pill. No, why would I lie to you? Lin Yi shook his head. Then how did you train? Did you use a pill? Tian Chan couldn't believe that Lin Yi had only used 10 years or so to reach the late phase of Earth class. Yeah, I used a qi gathering pill when I was breaking through to Earth class at the peak of the late phase of Mystic class. But it was a waste, Lin Yi said with some regret. I wasn't an alchemist back then. And I didn't know how precious a qi gathering pill was, and I didn't know there was such a thing as a small qi gathering pill. Puff, cough, cough. Tian Chan coughed at Lin Yi's words. You can still train after using a qi gathering pill? Of course I can. Lin Yi nodded. Haven't you noticed that my training speed is really fast? Especially when I'm recovering my qi. That's true, you really are a freak. Tian Chan sighed. Comparisons are odious, and comparisons are odious. If you were in my sect, you'd probably be at the peak of the late phase of Sky class already, or maybe you'd be at the peak of the Heavenly Tao already. Ha! Lin Yi smiled. I'm already very content. A lone practitioner can't compare to a core disciple of a sect. Yeah, aren't you content? When I was at your level, I couldn't even kill a mid-phase of Sky class. Tian Chan couldn't take it anymore from Lin Yi. Don't you have the 5 elements Baguazhang? Lin Yi paused. It's true that there's 5-element Baguazhang, but it's not enough to instantly kill a Sky class mid-phase at Earth class late phase. Tian Chan looked at Lin Yi strangely. You don't think 5-element Baguazhang is that strong, do you? Isn't it? Lin Yi paused. There are a total of 10 styles of the 5 elements Baguazhang. An Earth class can activate the first 5 styles, and a Sky class can activate the last 5 styles. Tian Chan shook her head and explained, although each style of the 5 elements Baguazhang is equivalent to 5 times the power of a normal martial art, that's only in theory. With a person's physical strength and proficiency in martial arts, it's already very impressive to be able to exert 3 times the power of a normal martial art. Moreover, the further you go, the less power you can exert. Because of the huge amount of physical strength required, the 5 elements Baguazhang has a huge advantage in the early and middle phase of Earth class, but in the late phase, it's a lot less. That's why I said that in the late phase of Earth class, the 5th style of the 5 elements Baguazhang can only exert about twice the power of the 10th style of an Earth class martial art. How can it instantly kill a mid-phase of Sky class? Right now, I can only exert a little more than twice the power. My final 10th style of the 5 elements Baguazhang is equivalent to about the 25th style of a normal martial art. What? There are only 10 styles in total? Lin Yi was stunned to find that the 5 elements Baguazhang that he had been looking forward to was such a fraud. There were actually only 10 styles, and when Tian Chan trained to the extreme, the final 10th style was only equivalent to the 25th style. In other words, if Lin Yi continued to train normally, the 20th style of the Raging Fire Baguazhang would be comparable to the 10th style. Lin Yi didn't need to learn the 5 elements Baguazhang at all, but thinking about it, a practitioner's physical strength and qi was limited. It was impossible for the martial art to exceed the body's physical strength and qi. Therefore, Lin Yi also understood why there were only 10 styles of the 5 elements Baguazhang. No practitioner could activate more styles. Of course, Lin Yi was just comforting himself. The power of the 5 elements Baguazhang in the hands of Tian Chan and Lin Yi's hands were absolutely incomparable. Yeah, if there were 20 styles, wouldn't that be against the heavens? Wouldn't I be invincible in the world? Tian Chan shrugged. That's true. Lin Yi nodded. The two of them talked about martial arts and other things in training. Both of them were elemental constitutions, so there were a lot of topics to talk about. Yanjing City, Lu Tianli had been having a great time these few days. He smoked the cigarettes that Boss Lang gave him every day, fantasizing about how much profit he could get from this big deal. Although House Lu was no longer the same as before, and even some of the hidden houses were respectful to them, they were still relying on Lin Yi. However, Lin Yi was Lin Yi, and House Lu was House Lu. With the relationship between Lu Tianyi and Lin Yi, things were going smoothly for House Lu. But what if Lu Tianyi passed away? Lu Tianyi wasn't a practitioner, so he wouldn't be able to live that long. Without Lu Tianyi, would Lin Yi still be able to help House Lu like he did now? Evidently, Lu Tianyi didn't think it was possible. And so he had been looking for a chance to turn House Lu into a big house that could exist independently from Lin Yi. Now, the chance had come. If he could keep working with Boss Lang, then House Lu's company would have to grow even bigger. Just as he was feeling proud, Lu Tianli's phone rang. Seeing Boss Lang's name, he smiled and picked it up. Boss Lang, how is it? Any good news? Boss Lu, it's little Cui Mianshi. It wasn't Boss Lang, but his secretary Cui Mianshi. Oh, Secretary Cui. What's up? Lu Tianli asked. It's like this. There's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Our Boss Lang is currently negotiating with a few local tobacco farmers and a few merchants. One of the merchants, because of investment problems, has a cash flow problem. They don't want the 5 billion worth of tobacco anymore. They want to sell it at a low price for only 1 billion. Now, everyone is a little tempted. However, 1 billion is a lot of money after all. Boss Lang and the other merchants are asking their subordinates to call their partners or family members to see if they can buy the goods. Cui Mianshi said, what Boss Lang means is to ask Boss Lu if we are interested in it. Chapter 2860. But Tianli knew the profits of this tobacco. 5 billion worth of goods, selling it for only 1 billion? This was like a pie falling from the sky. He wouldn't be a normal businessman if he let go of this opportunity. How about this, Secretary Cui? Don't worry, I'll think of something here. Hurry up and inform Mr. Lang I'll try to raise the money as soon as possible. We must keep this goods. Tianli said after a moment of silence. All right, Mr. Lu, I'll tell Mr. Lang then. Call me immediately if you have any news, Cui Mianshi replied. After hanging up, Tianli left the office and went to the bank. Although the company didn't have any cash, they still had a lot of immovable assets such as the company's skyscraper, House Lu's villa, the hotels and buildings they invested in before, luxury cars, and so on. Adding on House Lu's many years of reputation and connections, a loan of 1 billion was a bit big, but it wasn't impossible. Cui Mianshi, on the other hand, hung up and turned to Xiaochun. Xiaochun bro, it's done. Tianli has taken the bait. But Cui Mianshi, you've done a great job this time. I'll definitely ask Master Wen for you when we get back. Xiaochun nodded, satisfied. He didn't expect things to go so smoothly. It seemed like the hypnotist was the best. Tianli couldn't tell north from north after the hypnosis. Thank you, Xiaochun bro. Cui Mianshi said. Tianli's actions were swift as well. In fact, House Lu was a supplier of raw materials and finished products for Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. The outside world knew about this, and with this relationship, it was very easy for Tianli to get a loan. Soon, all the procedures were done, and Tianli got a loan of 1 billion from the bank. He contacted Mr. Lang and transferred the money to Mr. Lang's account. When Xiaochun saw that all the money went into her account, she knew that it was time to close the net. It was time to say goodbye to Tianli, but in order to attack Tianli, she didn't say it out loud on purpose. She wanted to let Tianli have a few days of sweet dreams before saying it out loud. Jiang Wen didn't expect things to go so smoothly this time. It was even easier than the time when he tricked Pingzhan. Lin Yi, oh Lin Yi, why didn't you think of this? You went to participate in what trial? And now your company is finished. Humph, this is what you get for going against the Fire Wolves and the Red Conches. Jiang Wen laughed coldly after getting the news. After all this time, he finally got his revenge. He'd always been suppressed by Lin Yi, and no matter what he did, it would always be destroyed by Lin Yi or the people around Lin Yi. This made Jiang Wen very frustrated, but this time he could finally hold his head high. The lightning pig was a spiritual beast, so its movements were not restricted in the savage land of 5 evils. No spiritual beast would attack the lightning pig and turn a blind eye to it running around, of course. Even with the lightning pig's mobility, finding Zhang Naipeo in the savage land of 5 evils was still a very difficult task. However, Skybolt Pig wasn't searching blindly. Every time he reached a large area, he'd stop for a while. He'd seen Zhang Naipeo before, and he'd memorized Naipeo's scent. If Naipeo was within a certain range, he'd be able to sense him. Finally, the heavens didn't disappoint the painstaking pig. Skybolt Pig came to a certain area and sensed Naipeo's aura. This discovery made the bored pig very excited, and he started sprinting in the direction of the aura. It was a miracle that Zhang Naipeo was still alive. After being driven insane by Lin Yi, he ran around the savage land of 5 evils, and it was inevitable that he would run into some spiritual beasts. These spiritual beasts would naturally attack a sky class practitioner like Zhang Naipeo. But as crazy as Naipeo was, his subconscious told him that he would still fight back if someone or a spirit beast attacked him. He was lucky that he didn't use any martial arts, but started channeling the Thorn Arts chant instead. If he were to use his martial arts and attack randomly, it wouldn't have much of an effect. He might not even be able to use it in time before he got killed by the spiritual beast like Dongfeng Bulu. But the Thorn Arts was different. It was a passive martial arts, and when the spiritual beast attacked him, it would naturally have a 240% chance of retaliation. The spirit beast wasn't an idiot after attacking Naipeo. It realized that something wasn't right after 2 hits and stopped its attack. It did heavily injure Naipeo, but the spirit beast didn't keep attacking him. Not only that, but it also told the flying spirit beast how dangerous Naipeo was, telling other spirit beasts to be more vigilant and not attack this weird practitioner, just in case they got hurt. And so Zhang Naipeo managed to get away with it, but he couldn't run due to his injuries. He just sat on the ground, laughing like a madman. All the nearby spiritual beasts had received the warning and treated him like air, waiting for him to die. Skybolt Pig noticed Naipeo, but didn't expect him to just sit there like that. He looked at the wounds on his body and noticed that the other spirit beasts didn't seem to notice him at all. That was a little strange. Skybolt Pig had been in the 5 Fiends Mountains, and this was a forbidden area for spiritual beasts. Sonic beasts naturally wouldn't fly around here. So Skybolt Pig didn't receive the news. Skybolt Pig had been thinking that even if he found Zhang Naipeo, he wouldn't be able to bring Lin Yi and Tian Chan to look for him. After all, Zhang Naipeo was a living person, and a crazy one at that. His location wasn't fixed, and so Skybolt Pig thought that he should follow him until he was tired, and then go find Lin Yi. But it seemed like that wasn't necessary now. After remembering Zhang Naipeo's location, Skybolt Pig rushed back to the 5 Fiends Mountains where Lin Yi and Tian Chan were both surprised to see Skybolt Pig back so quickly. Little guy, you found Zhang Naipeo? Tian Chan didn't even have much hope in finding Zhang Naipeo, and yet Skybolt Pig found him? Her goal here was to find Lin Yi, and Naipeo was just an excuse to fool the Xianqian elder. She didn't think that there would be an accident. Chapter 2861. Then should we go look for Zhang Naipeo now? Lin Yi was worried about Chi-Chi. Oink oink. The pig shook his head and found a spot with some loose soil. Not now. 2 to 4 in the morning is when the spirit beasts rest. That's the best time for us to find Zhang Naipeo. We won't get attacked by the spirit beasts. Oh, 2 to 4 in the morning? Spirit beasts rest? Lin Yi paused. He didn't think that Skybolt Pig would be able to find Zhang Naipeo and bring back such good news. Before, Lin Yi had been worried about how they'd find Zhang Naipeo safely with Skybolt Pig, worried that they'd be attacked by spirit beasts on the way. After all, he had the fragrance bag, but Tian-chan and Chi-Chi didn't. They would still be in danger, but Skybolt Pig's discovery solved that worry. Oink oink. Skybolt Pig nodded and continued writing. Zhang Naipeo is injured, sitting on the ground resting. Don't worry about him leaving. That's good. Linny nodded. He understood why Zhang Naipeo was injured. He'd been walking around in the 5 Calamities Barrens, and he'd definitely be attacked by spirit beasts, but he could counter their attacks. This way, the spirit beasts wouldn't attack him anymore, and so Zhang Naipeo survived. Tian-chan had evidently thought of this. As well, not only did she find Lin Yi, but she'd also be able to report back to the Xianxian elder. Night came, and it was finally 2 in the morning. Before Skybolt Pig came back, Lin Yi and Tian-chan were still talking and laughing, but now that Skybolt Pig had confirmed Zhang Naipeo's whereabouts, Lin Yi couldn't wait for the night to come, so he could bring Chi-Chi to look for Zhang Naipeo. 3 people, and 1 pig walked under the moonlight. And just as Skybolt Pig had said, there were no spirit beasts around at this time. It seemed that they really were resting, and there was no sense of danger on the flat road. The dragons of 5 fiends, on the other hand, knew that Lin Yi and Tian-chan had made it out of the cliff safely. They'd stayed at the foot of the mountain for so long, and this was the dragons of 5 fiends' turf. There was no way the dragons of 5 fiends wouldn't have sensed their presence. Of course, the dragon of 5 evils didn't continue attacking them. As the king of the 5 evils mountains, the dragon of 5 evils hated human practitioners. Moreover, these were practitioners who had destroyed the source of its devouring power. It wouldn't let Lin Yi and Tian-chan off so easily. But a king had its own pride. It had already killed Lin Yi and Tian-chan once, and Lin Yi and Tian-chan weren't dead. It was surprised, but it didn't kill them a second time. It just used the same method to throw them off the cliff. Whether they died or not would depend on their luck. However, the 5 evils dragon did not expect that the 2 of them would actually come up again. Since when did this cliff become so easy to climb? But just because the dragon didn't attack them personally didn't mean that it allowed Lin Yi and Tian-chan to come back again. It waited for Lin Yi and the others to leave before calling the spirit beast closest to it. Roar! All rules are cancelled. All spirit beasts are free to move and rest. Woo woo. The spirit beast's subordinate hurriedly expressed his understanding, turned around, and ran to inform the Soundwave flying spirit beast what Lin Yi and the others didn't know was that the 5 Calamities dragon was going to sabotage them, messing up the spirit beast's schedule. However, it still took time for the message to be transmitted. Although the Soundwave flying spirit beast could quickly spread the 5 evils dragon's order, it still needed its subordinates to inform it first. The pig had a strong sense of direction, and there weren't any detours on the way. Lin Yi carried Chi-Chi and Tian-chan to find Zhang Naipeo. When Lin Yi saw Zhang Naipeo, he couldn't help but feel a little emotional. A powerful disciple of the Ming-Ri sect was sitting on the ground like an idiot, his eyes blank, who knew what he was doing, or rather, he wasn't doing anything at all. Zhang Naipeo, Tian-chan called out. But Zhang Naipeo didn't react at all. He didn't even raise his head to look at Tian-chan, ignoring Tian-chan's call. He's in peak condition, and he can't hear other people's summons. Lin Yi explained, shaking his head. Then, how do we wake him up? Tian-chan frowned. If Zhang Naipeo didn't wake up and was brought back to the Xianxian elder, he'd definitely ask why he'd become like this. Tian-chan was worried that Lin Yi's secret would be leaked. Feng Shipian said that this is a kind of insanity of the primordial spirit. In theory, only he's conscious, and if someone forcefully interferes, it'll be very easy for him to go crazy. Unless someone knows how to use the primordial spirit to directly communicate with Zhang Naipeo through the primordial spirit status, that's the only way to wake him up. Linny said. The reason why he was confident in letting Zhang Naipeo save Chi-Chi was because of that thing in the jade space. That thing seemed to be a high-level primordial spirit. Then, how do we wake him up? Do you have any ideas? Tian-chan paused. Naipeo evidently couldn't save Chi-Chi like this. She didn't know where Lin Yi's confidence came from. Let's go to a safe place first. It's too dangerous here. We've been here for an hour and a half already. Luckily, we're not far from a safe place. Otherwise, we'd be in trouble when the spirit beast wakes up. Linny said, I almost forgot the time if you didn't mention it. Tian-chan stuck out her tongue, nervously. I thought you weren't scared of spirit beasts. You can kick them when they come. Lin Yi smiled as he looked at Tian-chan's cute face. You're joking with me? Tian-chan's face reddened as she glared at Lin Yi. I'm a professional at kicking you, not spirit beasts. A professional at kicking me? Why don't you say it's an ancestral technique? Lin Yi blinked, a bitter smile on his face. You think it's an ancestral technique? Tian-chan glared at Lin Yi. You know about ancestral techniques? Lin Yi was curious. Lin Yi had seen it when he was browsing the website. There was a stall that specialized in phone masks. Everyone else called it professional techniques, but only this stall called it ancestral techniques. Lin Yi was puzzled his ancestors already had phones. They could do this too. He didn't expect Tian-chan to know about it too. Chapter 2862. But Kong Ming-ming's jokes were quite funny. Tian-chan treated it as a distraction from work. Crazy. Linny paused. He wasn't talking about him, was he? But he didn't tell Tian-chan about it before. Let's not talk about that. We're running out of time. Why aren't you taking Zhang Naipeo away? Let's see what you're going to do. When the spirit beasts come, I know how to kick. Let's see what you can do. Tian-chan reminded Lin Yi. I have a weapon, Lin Yi said seriously. Pff, disgusting. Tian-chan's face changed after hearing Lin Yi's words. You're not going to... What are you thinking? The weapon I'm talking about is the sachet. You gave it to me. Lin Yi said innocently. I'll kick your sachet. Tian-chan was embarrassed, knowing that Lin Yi wasn't admitting it on purpose. But there was nothing she could do. She humphed. Go carry Zhang Naipeo. Oh, Lin Yi wasn't as gentle to Naipeo as he was to kick. He reached out and lifted him up. Naipeo was channeling his thorn arts, but Lin Yi didn't use any chi. Naipeo wouldn't cause any damage to Lin Yi. Lifting Naipeo up, Lin Yi and Tian-chan rushed to a safe place. It had to be said that they were quite lucky. Not long after they got there, there was a commotion outside. The spirit beasts had woken up, and the time they woke up wasn't the 4 a.m. that Skybolt Pig had said. It was a whole 15 minutes earlier. Lin Yi had Qinggong, and Tian-chan was a Sky-class late-phase peak, so their speed wasn't slow at all. If they didn't have to worry about the spirit beasts following them, they'd be able to reach safety in 15 minutes. Lin Yi had Tian-chan's fragrance bag with him when he was going back and forth to the Five Fiends Mountains, but he had to carry the Sky-class spirit beast with him at all times, so his speed wasn't fast. But this time, he didn't need to. What's going on? Didn't they say the spirit beasts wake up at 4 a.m? Lin Yi looked at Skybolt Pig, confused. Skybolt Pig, on the other hand, was lying at the entrance of the safe place with a serious face, looking outside. He only turned around when he heard Lin Yi's question, quickly writing on the ground. The Dragon of Five Fiends has given a new order. The previous order has been cancelled. The spirit beasts can move freely now. What do you mean? Lin Yi paused. He didn't know about the order from the Five Fiends Dragon. It's like this. Lin Yi didn't know, but Tian-chan understood a little. She told Lin Yi about the order from the Five Fiends Dragon. The 2 hours of rest in between was probably an order from the Five Fiends dragon as well. I see. I really didn't know that the Dragon of Five Fiends was quite a devious creature. Lin Yi thought back to how the Dragon of Five Fiends had thrown him into the cliff. The Dragon of Five Fiends was quite a devious creature. Spirit beasts, unless they're human practitioners, contracted spirit beasts, are on opposing sides. They're not evil or not. Tian-chan shook her head. I'm not thinking about the Five Fiends dragon. I'm thinking about how we're going to get out of here. That's true. Lin Yi frowned as he looked at the spirit beasts outside. It seemed like these spirit beasts were even more excited than when Lin Yi first entered the Five Fiends wildlands. Could it be that they'd killed too many practitioners and were getting bloodthirsty? That was the only possibility. If it were at the beginning, Lin Yi would have had the confidence to leave, but not now. But Lin Yi wasn't in the mood to think about how to get out of here. Lin Yi was thinking about how to wake Zhang Naipeo up and get him to absorb Chi-Chi's Five Fiends' chi. Hey, Soul, I'm talking to you. You're definitely not asleep. Don't play dead. Lin Yi went straight to the point after entering the jade space. I say, kid, are you done yet? What now? The ghost's voice was filled with helplessness and frustration. Can you help me? Lin Yi asked. No. The ghost said firmly, I'm not your follower, and your level is too low. You want me to do anything for you? That's impossible. This isn't an order. This is a discussion with you. Lin Yi smiled helplessly. A friend of mine is about to die. The Five Fiends' chi has entered his body. Oh, don't say any more. I can't help you with this. I'm just a phantom right now. I don't have a corporeal body. I can't help you dissolve the five savagery in your friend's body. The ghost interrupted. I don't need you to help me with the Five Fiends' chi, but there's someone else who can help me with it. But he's in a state of insanity. And just like me, I need you to wake him up. Lin Yi explained. I have to go out. The ghost immediately refused after listening. Going out will consume a lot of my primordial spirit. I won't go. Just take it as a favor. Lin Yi said in a sincere tone. If you need my help in the future, I will definitely help you. Oh, then let me think about it first. The ghost thought about it and said, How long do you need to think about it? Lin Yi was stunned and asked quickly, I can't say for sure. The shortest is 3 to 5 days, and the longest is 1.5 years. Anyway, it won't be more than 2 years. The ghost said, Aren't you tricking me? Lin Yi was suddenly angry. He felt that the ghost was perfunctory. He was just making a promise, and it wasn't a substantial exchange. Did it still need to think about it? The ghost actually needed to think about it. It was probably just an excuse that it didn't want to help, but it was really annoyed by Lin Yi's pleas. But after saying that, the ghost didn't say anything else and didn't care about Lin Yi at all. Lin Yi had no choice but to leave the jade space. This ghost didn't talk, and Lin Yi couldn't do anything about it. Lin Yi, do you have a way to wake Zhang Naipeo up? Tian-chan saw that Lin Yi wasn't talking, and she didn't know what Lin Yi was doing. She couldn't help but ask. Lin Yi heard Tian-chan's question and couldn't help but smile bitterly. I haven't thought of anything yet. You were so confident before, and I thought you had a way. Tian-chan paused, speechless. Chapter 2863. If Tian-chan were to ask where it was, how would Lin Yi explain it? Even if he did, would the thing be willing to reveal itself? Lin Yi didn't want to mess with this thing. Oh. Tian-chan looked at Lin Yi, confused. Simple? What do you mean? Nothing. It's just that I don't think I'm good enough. Lin Yi changed the topic. Just like before, I thought I could deal with Chi-Chi's 5 malevolence chi, but then I realized I couldn't. You can deal with it. Tian-chan was even more confused. We're both practitioners of the 5 elements we can absorb and dissolve the 5 malevolence chi for our own use. Lin Yi explained, seeing that he'd successfully changed the topic. I thought that I could take the 5 malevolence chi out of Chi-Chi's body for me to absorb and dissolve because I've done it for other physical practitioners before. But the 5 malevolence chi in Chi-Chi's body isn't in one place. It's scattered all over her body, in her meridians and body. I can't absorb it all. All right. Tian-chan was a little speechless. Then there's nothing I can do at the moment. I don't want anything to happen to her. But Zhang Naipeo is the only person we can count on. I know the method you mentioned as well. People who get hurt by spirit beasts often have the beast's pure chi in their bodies. And that's easier to dissolve since it's all together. This one scattered, we can't do anything about it. Yeah. Linny nodded, still worried about Chi-Chi, when a deep voice came from the jade space. All right, I'll do it. I can ask you to do something for me in the future. And you can't say no. Sure, but it has to be something within my capabilities. I can't just say I'll die if you want me to. Lin Yi was surprised and overjoyed when he heard the ghostly thing's words. Originally, Lin Yi didn't have any hope for it, but he didn't expect the ghostly thing to suddenly agree. Thinking of this, Lin Yi hurriedly entered the space of the jade pendant. However, Lin Yi did not lose his reason and added a condition. Of course, it's definitely something that doesn't go against your principles. Otherwise, you might not do it even if I asked you to. The ghost said, "Don't worry. I won't let you do anything that is dangerous to you or harmful to your interests." That's good. Thank you very much. Lin Yi was slightly taken aback. He didn't expect the damn thing to be so straightforward. It actually made the conditions even more detailed. There's no need to thank me. It's a fair trade. After the ghost finished speaking, it asked, "Is it the crazy man sitting on the ground beside you?" "Yes, it's him, Zhang Naipeo." Lin Yi nodded. All right. The ghostly thing suddenly came out from the space of the jade pendant and appeared in front of Lin Yi. It was still a ball of mist, and Tian-chan couldn't see what it was. Its sudden appearance gave Tian-chan a fright. Tian-chan was an expert at the peak of the late stage of the heaven rank. How could Tian-chan not be aware of such an unknown thing appearing here? What is this? Tian-chan asked quickly. Don't be afraid. This is a helper that I summoned. It can wake Zhang Naipeo up. Linny explained to Tian-chan. You summoned? Tian-chan was stunned. Ancient summoning? Ancient summoning? What is it? Lin Yi was confused after hearing Tian-chan's words. It's a type of summoning that's been lost for a long time. It can summon some special helpers like a wandering soul or something. Tian-chan explained. I'm not too sure myself. It's just a legend. Oh, I can summon it, and I can't summon it often. What I meant was, I thought I could summon it, but I didn't, but now I can summon it again. Lin Yi's words were a little messy, but Tian-chan still understood what he was saying. Oh, I see. Then Tian-chan felt an obvious pressure in front of this ghostly thing. She didn't know why, but even when she was facing the 5-bane dragon, Tian-chan didn't feel this much pressure. Zhang Naipeo, wake up! The ghost suddenly roared, scaring Lin Yi and Tian-chan. Zhang Naipeo roared, and his eyes that were a little dazed suddenly cleared up. He raised his head, looking at Lin Yi and then at Tian-chan and the ghost that woke him up. He slowly remembered everything that had happened recently. Just like Lin Yi, he still remembered what happened when he was at his peak after waking up. He knew that it was Lin Yi who made him reach his peak, and that it was Lin Yi who found him and healed him. He couldn't help but feel a deep sense of defeat when he thought about all this. He had come to the 5-bane barons with his ultimate skill, wanting to show off his skills and give Linny a good beating, but he didn't think that he would be the one getting beaten up in the end. How did his ultimate skill get learned by Lin Yi all of a sudden? And that wasn't even the end of it. He couldn't even break out of this skill. And yet Lin Yi did it so easily. Even summoning helpers to help him. Wasn't this too unbelievable? Plus, he was a Sky class early phase, and Linny was only an Earth class late phase, but the difference in strength between the two couldn't be compared. Naipeo finally realized how small he was in front of Lin. He was just like a clown. Every time he came, he would return in disappointment. His strength had increased, but so had Lin Yi's, and it was to a point where he couldn't block or think about it. Just one Hellfire Fist alone was enough to make Zhang Naipeo powerless. Why did you save me? Zhang Naipeo knew what had happened before he woke up, but the conversation between Lin Yi and Tian Chan wasn't very detailed, so he didn't think too much about it. What he was thinking was that Lin Yi could have killed him, so why did he save him instead? What was the meaning of this? Help me absorb the 5 Bane Qi out of her, and we'll forget about this. We'll go our separate ways after we get out of here. Lin Yi pointed at Chi-Chi on the ground. So, you have a favor to ask of me. I was wondering how you'd save me. Naipeo looked at Chi-Chi and remembered the 5 Malice Qi. He had the wasp absorption arts, and naturally he could absorb and dissolve it. Chapter 2864. So what if I do? So what if I don't? Naipeo was getting dispirited. He felt like he didn't want to live anymore. He trained for so long, worked so hard, and yet he still couldn't surpass Lin Yi. The two started off at the same level when he first met Lin Yi. Lin Yi was only a golden class, just a little stronger than him. But Naipeo's hard work was enough to make up for that small shortcoming, but what he didn't expect was that it still wasn't enough. Was this what people meant by one step ahead every step? But that didn't make sense. Mo Ba and Mo Jiu were both Sky class mid-phase, and they still couldn't beat Lin Yi? What kind of logic was this? He was also a Sky class early phase, and he leveled up faster than Lin Yi, so why couldn't he beat Lin Yi? Was this what they meant by not having enough talent? Naipeo felt bitter. I told you, save her, and I'll let you go this time. Lin Yi said, if you don't save her, I can keep using Hellfire Fist to make you stay here forever. I have my thorn arts. Naipeo said unwillingly. He'd already accepted the fact that he wasn't as strong as Lin Yi, but it wasn't that easy for him to give in right now. Thorn arts? You'll still have to take 20% of the damage yourself, and 20% of the Hellfire Fist is more than enough to drive you insane. I can wake myself up for the 240% of the damage that'll bounce back. Won't affect me. Lin Yi shrugged. Plus, I have the mid-level golden cicada undershirt for defense. Naipeo was speechless. Even his thorn arts had been easily dispelled by Lin Yi. Even if Lin Yi didn't have the golden cicada undershirt, he wouldn't be able to do anything to Lin Yi. Even if Lin Yi had become a heaven rank expert, without the restriction of the mid-quality golden cicada undergarment, he still wouldn't be able to match that Hellfire Fist. Man, if it weren't for Liang Bro, I'd rather die here than give in. But I can't die. I have to keep working hard for Liang Bro. I have to repay his kindness. Naipeo shook his head. All right, I'll do it. You're quite loyal, but there's something wrong with your master. Lin Yi shook his head. Brother Liang treats me very well. Lin Yi, you don't have to sow discord between us. Naipeo retorted, don't talk about pointless. There's no way you'll be able to get me to betray you. Go get Liang Bro if you can, and if he doesn't target you, then I won't target you either. But that's impossible. Liang Bro hates you to the bone. Forget it, let's absorb the qi. Lin Yi didn't want to talk too much with Naipeo. This guy was stubborn, and there was nothing Lin Yi could do. Naipeo nodded, not saying anything else. He looked at Chi-Chi and put his hand on her wrist, preparing to use his practitioner's arts to absorb the 5 malevolence qi from her. Wait. Lin Yi stopped him suddenly. What? Naipeo paused. Why wait? I need to see if you can hurt her. Lin Yi said, as he bent down to look at Naipeo's hand on Chi-Chi's wrist. You're trying to learn it secretly, aren't you? Naipeo wasn't an idiot. He thought back to when Lin Yi used the Hellfire Fist, and guess what Lin Yi was thinking? You don't have a practitioner's arts. You think you can learn it just by looking? Lin Yi was exposed, but he acted as if nothing had happened at all, speaking faintly. Others might not be able to learn it, but you might. How else would you know my demon of Hell Fist? Naipeo didn't believe Lin Yi's words. Mine's called Hellfire Fist, different from your demon of Hellfist. They're two completely different skills, Linny said. You think I'm an idiot? I think you made it up based on my skills. Naipeo shook his head. You're always lying to me. I'll have to be more careful of you in the future, and I won't use my skills in front of you. Who knows if you'll steal them from me? You really think too highly of me. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. He didn't think that Naipeo would be so smart after waking up. It wasn't easy for him to think this through. But since Naipeo had already put it that way, Lin Yi didn't want to peek anymore. Naipeo would find a way to hide him if he did. So Lin Yi stood to the side, not bothering Naipeo anymore. He asked casually, can you absorb the 5 savages' chi from her even if she doesn't use her arts? The practitioner's arts absorbs the practitioner's own chi. This 5 malice chi isn't hers, so I can absorb it directly. Naipeo didn't try to hide the truth. Oh, I see. Linny nodded. You absorb it then, I'll leave for a bit. She's done. Naipeo stood up and said to Lin Yi, she might wake up in a bit. All right, thank you for this. Lin Yi and Naipeo were enemies, but Naipeo had saved Chi-Chi. So Lin Yi had to be polite. No need for thanks. You saved me, too, so we're even. Plus, I absorbed the 5 savagery chi from her body, and it healed quite a bit of my wounds. Naipeo waved his hand. You should think about how we're going to get back first. All right. Yeah, now that Chi-Chi's 5 malice chi was gone. The biggest problem was how to get out of here. Naipeo was unconscious, but he'd heard that the spirit beast had stopped resting, and so he was a little worried. Either we force our way out, or we find a pattern. Linny said, I don't have any ideas right now. I can avoid spirit beasts myself, as long as it's not a sky class, but you guys can't. Right? Who's this? Naipeo didn't know what to do as he turned to Tian-chan. He knew that Lin Yi could avoid spirit beasts, but Lin Yi had miraculously dodged a couple of attacks after getting hit by the dark demon fist. Naipeo thought it was weird at the time, but now that he heard Lin Yi's explanation, he understood. Chapter 2865. Both of them had more or less guessed each other's identities, but if her identity as the young master of the Sky Elixir sect were to be exposed, it'd create a huge gap between her and Lin Yi. Oh, hello. Naipeo was a eunuch, and he had no interest in beauties. In his eyes, they were nothing but red skulls. Tian-chan was very pretty, but he only greeted her briefly before turning his attention to Lin Yi. Tian-chan didn't show her strength, and Naipeo didn't expect her to be a sky-class late-phase peak. Since she was saved by Lin Yi, as far as Naipeo was concerned, Tian-chan was only a small mystic. Zhang Naipeo didn't talk much, and Tian-chan was happy to be at peace. She didn't want Lin Yi to see through her if she said too much. How about this, that spirit beast of yours can interact with other spirit beasts? Naipeo hesitated before turning to Lin Yi. We can have it negotiate with the spirit beasts we meet on the way, and use both carrot and stick. If they let us pass, then we'll be fine. But if they attack me, I can reflect the damage and use my wasp absorption arts to suck their chi dry. Oh, you can suck them? Oh, I forgot. Can't we just fight our way out? Lin Yi thought of Naipeo's wasp absorption arts. It was a very powerful skill. Yes, but it's not realistic to fight all the way out. Spirit beasts obviously have more Jin Qi than human cultivators. With my current strength, I can absorb a yellow or mystic spirit beast, but it's a bit difficult to absorb an earth spirit beast. If I absorb a heaven spirit beast, my body will explode, and I will die. Just like the last time you almost made me explode and die. Naipeo shook his head. Plus, even if it's a golden or mystic class, I can only suck 2 or 3 of them. I can't take it anymore. That's true. Lin Yi nodded in understanding. Oh, right. Why don't you absorb 2 spirit beasts, and then use the Divine Thorns art to injure a few more spirit beasts? Then absorb again to heal your wounds. This way, you won't have to worry about your body exploding. That is a good idea. Naipeo thought about it and agreed, but we need to be careful when we leave. A few beasts is fine, but if there's a bunch of them, I won't be able to handle them. We can only try our best to avoid it. After all, we don't have the final say in this matter. Lin-Yi shrugged. Then should we leave now? Naipeo asked. Works? Lin-Yi said as he carried Chi-Chi on his back. She wouldn't be of any help in the fight against the spirit beasts, whether she was awake or not. Carrying her wouldn't make a difference. Tian-chan had been listening to the conversation between Lin-Yi and Naipeo the whole time. And when Naipeo suggested leaving, Tian-chan questioned, Doing that, I'm afraid we'll attract even more spirit beasts. The beasts here seem to be very united, and if we kill too many of them, we'll be surrounded by a horde of beasts. It'll be hard for us to leave then. But this is the only way. You're a girl. Don't say anything. Naipeo was naturally displeased at Tian-chan's rebuttal. In his eyes, Tian-chan was on the same level as Chi-Chi. If it weren't for the fact that she was Lin-Yi's friend, he wouldn't even bother talking to her. Ha ha! Tian-chan smiled and didn't say anything. Naipeo was right. This was the only way, and it was the only way. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to get to the portal smoothly. It wasn't a long way, but from the looks of it, these spirit beasts were all very excited. They'd probably be surrounded as soon as they got out. The sky was bright now, and Lin-Yi carried Chi-Chi, Tian-chan, Naipeo, and the pig out of the safe area, heading towards the portal. It was fine at first, but they didn't get far before two yellow-class spirit beasts locked onto them. Chi-Chi, I'm a mystic late phase peak. I order you to leave. The Skybolt pig barked twice at the two yellow-ranked spirit beasts. Although the two yellow-ranked spirit beasts were unwilling, they still obediently left. Lin-Yi just remembered that Skybolt pig was a mystic late phase peak and could suppress spirit beasts below that level. Naipeo was very tensered. These two spirit beasts were only golden class, but they were different from humans. Some of them were already extremely strong when they were golden class, but some of them weren't even that strong when they reached sky class. But he didn't expect Lin-Yi's spirit beasts to be able to suppress yellow class spirit beasts. I didn't think that this would make it so much easier for us to get to the portal. As long as we don't run into any earth or sky class spirit beasts, we'll be fine. Skybolt Pig nodded his head proudly. In fact, he was just trying to give it a try. The order from the Five Evils dragon was lifted, but he didn't know if the spiritual beasts would be suppressed immediately. Now, it seemed that it was feasible. Tian-chan was a bit surprised as well, and she looked at Skybolt Pig with praise. With the Skybolt Pig, their journey was much smoother. Firstly, the Skybolt Pig could sense high-ranked spirit beasts' auras. Thus it could warn everyone from far away. As such, they could change their paths and not walk in a straight line. This way, they could avoid encountering high-ranked spirit beasts as much as possible. Some of the low-class spirit beasts, on the other hand, didn't care about it at all and used the suppression system to hide from high-class spirit beasts. It was a smooth journey, but sometimes when things went too smoothly, other people, or more accurately, spirit beasts, would be jealous of them. Skybolt Pig could hide from high-class spirit beasts and deal with low-class spirit beasts, but all of this was noticed by the sound wave flying spirit beasts that were in charge of sending messages in the Five Malefic Barons. They reported it to the Five Malefic Dragon. Immediately, the Five Malefic Dragon heard the report, and it was a bit shocked. Before, it let the spirit beasts go back to their original state because it wanted Lin-Yi and the others to stay here forever. But the Five Malefic Dragon was prideful, and it didn't want to kill a few human practitioners just because of it. But now, the Five Malefic Dragon was a bit pissed off. These little guys were pretty smart, weren't they? But that didn't matter. The Five Malefic Dragon was going all out this time. It couldn't tolerate anything that wasn't under its control in its territory. The Five Malefic Dragon wanted Lin-Yi and the others to know that it was the king of this place, and that no matter how smart they were, it was useless. Chapter 2866. But to be able to make me, the dragon of 5 evils, give me the order to kill you. It's a worthy death. After receiving the order, the spirit beast went to pass on the 5 diabolical dragons' order. Although it took some time to pass on the order, the spirit beast didn't have to search for the 5 diabolical dragon this time. Instead, the spirit beast directly passed on the 5 diabolical dragons' order, which was faster than usual. It didn't take long before all the spirit beasts of Earth class and above in the 5 Fiends' wildlands received the order from the 5 Fiends' dragon. They were ready to surround Lin Yi and the others. Since the other spirit beasts could hear this command, the Skybolt pig could naturally hear it as well. When it heard the command from the Soundwave flying spirit beast, it jumped in fright. The fur on its body stood on end, and it stopped in its tracks. Skybolt pig, what's wrong? Lin Yi paused when he saw Skybolt pig stop all of a sudden. He didn't know what was going on. Oink. Skybolt pig found a soft spot and wrote on the ground with his paw. Not good. The dragon of 5 evils sent out a new order, telling all the low-level spirit beasts to attack us. What? Lin Yi was taken aback, and so was Tian Chan Naipeo, on the other hand, frowned, not believing what he'd just heard. He'd never dealt with the dragon of 5 evils before, so he asked, why would the dragon of 5 evils make such a big move for us? You're not lying to us, are you? Skybolt pig wouldn't lie. Lin Yi shook his head. I'm afraid we're in trouble. Lin Yi didn't expect the dragon of 5 evils to be this bad. It had been using all sorts of dirty tricks along the way, and if one didn't work, then another. It wouldn't stop until it got what it wanted. But Lin Yi could understand it was normal for the dragon of 5 evils to be angry. After all, if Lin Yi was in its shoes, he'd fight to the death as well. Looks like I can only risk it. Naipeo, on the other hand, didn't think that Lin Yi was a liar. Since Lin Yi said that the pig was telling the truth, Naipeo naturally believed him. Let's show our strength now and see if we can scare the beasts. If we can't, we'll just kill our way out. Lin Yi, can your mid-grade golden cicada undergarment defend against an Earth-rank spirit beast attack? How would I know? Lin Yi was stunned and said, You're the one who sent this underwear to me. Why are you asking me? But Naipeo's words reminded Lin Yi that he didn't know if this mid-tier golden cicada undergarment could defend against anything below sky class. Since the underwear had a strict grading system, then spirit beasts also had a grading system. Was it possible? You can give it a try later. Naipeo said after a sigh, You better help me block the Earth-class spirit beast's attack, and I'll use my dark demon fist to attack it. When my chi is used up, I'll find a sky-class spirit beast to absorb it. This is much easier than using my own thorn arts to reflect the damage. But when I'm halfway through, the beast won't be able to move, and you'll have to help me kill it. If I absorb too much, I'll explode and die. It was obvious that Naipeo was ready to go all out. He'd just reached Sky class, and he didn't dare use his wasp absorption arts to absorb Sky class spirit beasts. But this was too sudden, and he had no choice but to take the risk. It was as Skybolt Pig said, they'd all die here. Show our strength? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Our strength is nothing in the beast's eyes. Even Tian Chan wouldn't be able to scare them. Would she? That Dongfeng Bulu from before was also a Sky class late phase peak, right? Tian Chan? Naipeo paused and looked at Tian Chan, surprised. You're a Sky class late phase peak? Yeah. Tian Chan nodded. Naipeo was speechless. He cupped his fists. I'm sorry, I overlooked this before. I didn't think that there would be a master here. That's great. You'll be a great helper when we fight the spirit beasts later. You and Lin Yi are here. How would I dare call myself a master? Tian Chan realized that she didn't have much of an advantage in front of Lin Yi and Naipeo. Both of them knew that Hell XX Fist And even if she was a sky-class late-phase peak, she'd turn into a lunatic after getting hit by it. Tian-chan didn't think that she wouldn't be able to break through the Hell XX fist, but even if she did, she'd still be at a disadvantage. You can in front of me, I'm scared of kicks, but Naipeo's not. He's a eunuch, Lin Yi said. Tian-chan's face reddened as she glared at Lin Yi, but Naipeo was here, and Tian-chan couldn't threaten him. She only humphed. Naipeo, on the other hand, was confused. What does this have to do with being a eunuch? Are you discriminating against eunuchs? Nothing, just joking. Lin Yi was afraid that Tian-chan would go berserk, so he shrugged and was about to change the topic when he saw Skybolt Pig shivering, and the jade on Lin Yi's chest sent a warning signal as well. Danger was coming. Naipeo, on the other hand, seemed to have realized something as well. He raised his head and looked into the distance. It was the footsteps of spirit beasts, and they were in groups. This made Naipeo's scalp go numb. This wasn't just one or two spirit beasts. It was a group of spirit beasts. Skybolt Pig, what's going on? Lin Yi's face wasn't looking too good as well. There are at least 20 Earth-class spirit beasts coming this way. Skybolt Pig wrote on the ground. At least 20? Lin Yi felt dizzy as he looked at Naipeo. A bitter smile on his face. Naipeo, it seems like your idea won't work. So many spirit beasts. Even if you can absorb one, and I can defend one, the others won't give us a chance. Then what do you suggest we do? Naipeo didn't know what to do. He didn't think that the dragon would be this evil. Did you guys offend the dragon somehow? Why is it so mean? Offended? They really did offend it. But Lin Yi couldn't tell Naipeo all that and could only say it vaguely. We're here to participate in the test. Isn't offending it? Tian-chan didn't expect to run into danger like this. She didn't know what to do either. But just when Tian-chan didn't know what to do, she felt a touch on her waist. Turning around, she saw Lin Yi's hand touching her. This pissed Tian-chan off. Chapter 2867. Go first, don't worry about us, Lin Yi said. Tian-chan realized that there was something on her waist. It was the perfume pouch she gave to Lin Yi before. She didn't think that Lin Yi would give it back to her. It's not too late, Lin Yi said to Tian-chan. Go. Tian-chan didn't think that Lin Yi would still think of her at a time like this. She was very touched and a little sweet. Was this the feeling of two people caring for each other? Okay. She felt that coming back to find Lin Yi wasn't a waste. But could she leave by herself now? If she left, what would happen to Lin Yi? I'll fight with you. Tian-chan made her decision instantly. It was a very irrational decision, completely different from the calm and collected silkworm transformation she used to be. But now, she was Tian-chan. She didn't regret it. If I can deal with them, then there's no point in you staying. If I can't, then you'll be a pointless sacrifice. Lin Yi said, but Tian-chan thought about it. Lin Yi was right. She wouldn't be of any help if she stayed. A sky-class late-phase peak was very small in front of these spirit beasts. If we don't leave now, we won't have time. Lin Yi interrupted Tian-chan. It's too late. Naipeo didn't know why Lin Yi wanted Tian-chan to leave, but he didn't have the time to ask. He only told Lin Yi and Tian-chan what he saw. The spirit beasts are coming from all directions. She can't escape. What? Lin Yi took a deep breath. It seemed like the dragon of 5 fiends had made up its mind this time, determined to get rid of them. Roar dash, woo, goo goo. The footsteps and cries of the spirit beasts were getting nearer and nearer, and in the blink of an eye, they were right in front of them. Just as Naipeo had said, dozens of spirit beasts were surrounding them from all directions, leaving them with no way to escape. Roar, whoa, goo goo. However, what puzzled Lin Yi and the others was that after the spiritual beasts surrounded them, they did not make any further moves. They merely surrounded them without attacking or moving forward. None of the spiritual beasts took the initiative to provoke them, but they still surrounded them in the middle. What does that mean? Lin Yi looked at Skybolt Pig strangely. Gigi, what are you doing? The Skybolt Pig asked the spirit beasts surrounding them. Roar, roar. The dragon of 5 evils asked us to surround you. It's coming soon. One of the spiritual beasts replied. The dragon of 5 evils is coming. Thunder Pig wrote on the ground. What? The dragon of 5 evils. It's coming personally? Lin Yi was taken aback. He thought that the spirit beasts wouldn't attack them, but now that the dragon of 5 evils was here, there wasn't much to talk about. Nai Peo's face darkened as well. He didn't know what kind of bad luck he had to make the dragon of 5 evils come personally. It seems like we won't be able to get out today. Roar. With an angry roar, the dragon of 5 evils floated over. And to Lin Yi's surprise, the dragon of 5 evils could fly. There was actually a pair of wings on its back, but they weren't very obvious. They were very, very small. And Lin Yi was quite puzzled. How could these wings fly? Wasn't this a classic example of a pony pulling a cart and 0, 8L engine pulling a tank? But it really did fly. Other than looking a little uncoordinated, the flight was very natural, like a helicopter. It could go up and down, and it landed right in front of Lin Yi and the others. I have to admit that you little fellows are very smart. You made use of all the resources available to you and actually came here. The dragon of 5 evils rolled its eyes as it spoke to Lin Yi and the others. It was hard to tell if it was angry or something else. You've been toying with us all this time? Lin Yi was furious, but there was nothing he could do. From the moment the dragon of 5 evils threw him off the cliff until now, he realized that he hadn't been able to break free from the dragon of 5 evils' control. It seemed like the dragon of 5 evils wanted to toy with him until he died. That's right. The first time you and this girl came to 5 Evils Mountain, I threw you off the cliff and you climbed up on your own. I decided to let you go, so I didn't bother with you anymore. Who knew that you'd come here again? I could endure it once, but that doesn't mean I can endure it a second time. The dragon of 5 evils sneered. The reason why I didn't injure you and throw you off the cliff the second time was to toy with you. I wanted to let you see a little hope of survival, and then wait for you to climb up, then slowly destroy your hope. I see. Lin Yi couldn't help but smile bitterly. So, you came here personally to kill us? Originally, I did not intend to kill you personally, but I suddenly realized that I have underestimated you. However, it is also a very satisfying thing for me to be able to personally kill highly intelligent cultivators like you. The 5 Evils dragon said, That's right, pervert. Lin Yi was speechless at the dragon of 5 Evils' words. Did this guy have any setbacks when he was young? Why is his heart so dark? You're right, I am a pervert. I've been in this 5 Evils wilderness for too long, and now that I've found something fun, how could I let it go? The dragon of 5 Evils looked at Lin Yi and the others with a mocking look. In its eyes, Lin Yi and the others were its playthings. Then how do you want us to die? Lin Yi asked. Let me think. The dragon of 5 Evils pretended to be deep in thought. How about this? You guys kill each other, and I'll let the last survivor go. What do you think? Lin Yi frowned upon hearing this. This dragon of 5 Evils was really evil. It made this request just to watch the show, and it had other reasons to kill the last survivor. It was just toying with them. A flash of hesitation flashed in Naipeo's eyes, but remembering that Lin Yi was stronger than himself, he'd be the one to die. He gave up on the idea of killing each other. Plus, there was still Tian Chan, whose strength was unknown. Who knew what other trump cards she had up her sleeve? What? You don't believe what I said? The dragon of 5 Evils saw that Lin Yi and the others weren't moving. It was getting a little angry. You only have one chance, and you won't get another if you miss it. None of you want to live. Chapter 2868. I'm talking about the kid in the black shirt. Naipeo pointed at himself. The dragon of 5 fiends nodded. Yes, you. This has nothing to do with you. I have a grudge against the 3 of them. And you got dragged into this. So, do you want to kill them? You think I'm an idiot? Naipeo rolled his eyes. Even if I got dragged into this, I wouldn't do anything. My life was saved by Lin Yi in the first place, and even if he didn't, I'm no match for him. If I make the first move, I'll be the first to die. Instead of that, I might as well wait and see. Who knows, maybe I won't just sit there and wait. Is that so? The dragon of 5 fiendish evils, it realized that its intelligence was still lacking compared to a human practitioner's. It was easy for human practitioners to trick each other, and it was easy for them to fall into a trap, but the dragon of 5 fiendish evils, it realized that it wasn't that easy. After saying so much, these human practitioners still didn't fall for it. It couldn't help but feel a little dispirited. It stopped playing around and turned to the spirit beasts. Let's go together and tear them to pieces. Roar dash, woo, goo goo. The spirit beasts around the dragon of 5 fiendish evils, they were ready to charge in and kill Lin Yi and the others. Lin Yi cursed inwardly. Ever since he came to Songshan, he'd come across a lot of trouble and danger, but he'd always find a way to deal with it. This was the first time he'd had to sit and wait helplessly for death. Tian Chan, on the other hand, paled as well. She wasn't afraid of dying, especially when she was with Lin Yi. But what she was afraid of was what would happen to the Sky Elixir sect after her death. What about her brother? Could he shoulder the burden of the young head? Naipeo, on the other hand, was expressionless. If Lin Yi hadn't saved him, he wouldn't have been able to survive here anymore. The pain of being burned alive in the sea of fire wasn't something a normal person could endure for long. He was awake now, but it was only a matter of time before he died. From the very beginning, Lin Yi had started to compress the true chi bomb. But then there were too many spirit beasts, so the effect of Lin Yi's true chi bomb became insignificant. Now that the 5 evils dragon had appeared, Lin Yi was not sure whether he could hurt it or not. But Lin Yi decided to give it a try. However, just as Lin Yi was about to give it his all, a mighty roar was suddenly heard coming from between Lin Yi's group and the spiritual beasts. Get back. Roar, ow, woo, goo goo. The spiritual beasts that had received the order from the 5 evils dragon were about to pounce on Lin Yi's group and tear them to shreds, but to everyone's surprise, the spiritual beasts stopped in their tracks and let out a confused roar before retreating quickly. Even the eyes of the 5 evils dragon flickered with astonishment. Roar. 5 evils dragon, you little guy will escort them out. The voice continued. Roar? Yes. The 5 evils dragon's breathing quickened, and anyone could tell that it was extremely nervous right now. It seemed to be extremely afraid of the owner of the voice. This was a voice that Lin Yi, Tian Chan, and even Naipeo weren't unfamiliar with. It was the voice that had woken Naipeo up earlier. Lin, he was pleasantly surprised. He didn't think that this thing would come out to interfere. Lin Yi hadn't planned on begging that thing at all. Firstly, Lin Yi didn't think that it could defeat this many spiritual beasts. It had said that it had killed a few Sky-class human practitioners, but human practitioners and spiritual beasts were 2 completely different concepts. A human practitioner that could kill a Sky-class practitioner might not even be able to kill a Mystic-class spiritual beast. What Lin Yi didn't expect even more was that these spiritual beasts would actually listen to the thing's words. They really retreated, and even the 5 evils dragon was extremely respectful towards it, agreeing to escort them out. What was going on? Lin Yi had never heard of a practitioner being able to command so many spiritual beasts before himself. Was this the privilege of a heavenly class practitioner? But as long as the thing didn't say anything, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to find out. If you dare disturb my training again, I'll kill you. The mist-like thing threatened the 5 evils dragon. But its threat was quite effective. The 5 evils dragon nodded in fear. Don't worry, I was just joking with them. I hope so. With that, the thing disappeared, and only Lin Yi knew that it had gone back into the jade space. You summon it again? Tian Chan looked at Lin Yi in surprise. She didn't expect that this mist-like thing that Lin Yi had summoned could command spiritual beasts. I don't know how it came out. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Nai Peo, on the other hand, was very confused. Lin Yi had summoned this thing to wake him up, and he was already confused as to what it was now that it could even threaten spiritual beasts. He was even more confused. What was this? Could it be Lin Yi's new trump card? It looked like he was pretty strong. Thank God he didn't attack Lin Yi rashly, otherwise he wouldn't even know how he died. No, he had to report this to Liang Bro when he got back. This Lin Yi was too amazing. But as surprised as he was, he didn't ask curiously. He knew that even if he did, Lin Yi wouldn't tell him, just like how he wouldn't tell Lin Yi about the wasp absorption arts. Please, everyone, the Five Evils dragon was afraid of the thing, but it had regained its calmness towards Lin Yi's group, although its tone was a lot better now. Haha, Five Evils dragon. You didn't expect this, did you? We won in the end. Lin Yi knew that the more confident he acted, the more he could scare the Five Evils dragon. Lin Yi knew that with that thing's temperament, it would be very difficult to get it to come out again. To be able to invite him, the Five Fiendish dragon shook his head. I've underestimated you. Lin Yi wanted to ask the Five Evils dragon what it was that he'd invited, but that would mean revealing his identity to the dragon. So Lin Yi only thought about it, not asking. The spectating spirit beasts were all sent away by the Dragon of Five Fiends, and the Dragon of Five Fiends escorted Lin Yi, Tian Chan, and Nai Peo all the way to the portal. Chapter 2869. Never see each other again? Haha, that's hard to say. The dragon said faintly, Kid, you've got some skill. I like you. Who knows, maybe we'll meet again in another plane. Let's see what else you can rely on then. I hope you won't disappoint me. With that, the dragon turned around and left, not giving Lin Yi a chance to speak. He left Lin Yi with a lot of questions. Another plane? They'd meet again? Lin Yi didn't understand what the Five Fiends dragon was talking about, but he was certain that he would never come to a place like the Five Fiends' Wildlands ever again. Unless he was forced to, he wouldn't come here on his own accord. Lin Yi carried Chi-Chi on his back as he went through the portal with Tian Chan, Nai Peo, and Skybolt Pig. They were finally back at the Sky Elixir Sect's back mountain, but there were no more Sky Elixir disciples here. The test was over. Lin Yi let out a long breath as he looked at the familiar scenery. He was finally out. Everything that had happened these few days felt like a lifetime ago, but Lin Yi knew that it was time for him and Tian Chan to part ways. Lin Yi didn't see Tian Chan at the registration stage of the Heavenly Elixir School's trial, so Tian Chan didn't stay in the inn. Thinking of her special status in the Five Elements School, Heavenly Elixir School wouldn't treat her like a normal participant. Lin Yi hesitated before opening his mouth. Tian Chan opened her mouth at the same time. Both of them were stunned. Tian Chan couldn't help but smile. I'm leaving. You can go down the mountain from here and return to the Inn of the Heavenly Elixir Sect. Okay. Lin Yi looked at Tian Chan, a little sad. Will we meet again? Maybe. Tian Chan didn't know how to answer this question. There were some things about the future that even she wasn't sure about, and she couldn't decide for herself. Then, we'll meet again. Lin Yi also knew that Tian Chan might have her own difficulties. The Five Elements sect was a very overbearing sect, especially under the leadership of Patriarch Xianchen. Why do I feel like you're treating me as the Dragon of Five Evils? Tian Chan felt weird when she heard Lin Yi's words. Don't kick me. Lin Yi laughed. I'll kick you. Tian Chan also laughed. Ahem. I say, can you guys stop flirting? Nai Peo couldn't take it anymore. If you're in a hurry, you can leave first. You don't need me here. Lin Yi said. Let's go back together. Nai Peo hesitated. He really was a little scared now that they'd come out. He was still worried that they'd run into some trouble, and being with Lin Yi gave him a sense of security. I'm going. Tian-chan was silent for a while before gathering up her courage. Give me your number. Okay. Lin Yi didn't even think before giving his number. 159XXXX. Mine is 139XXXX. Tian-chan gave Lin Yi her private number as well. Contact me when you're free, okay? Lin Yi took in a deep breath and turned around, walking down the mountain with Naipeo. Tian-chan faintly sighed and quickly headed towards the direction of the temporary imperial residence. Manager Sun was very confused as to why Lin Yi and Naipeo would come back together. Weren't these two enemies? Lin Yi had just crippled Mo Jio. How were these two coming back together? Did they make up? Naipeo, why isn't Chi-Chi awake yet? It had been almost a day, and Chi-Chi still hadn't woken up. Lin Yi was a little worried. That I don't know, but I'm sure I absorbed her 5 malice chi. As for when she'll wake up, I can't say for sure. Naipeo shook his head. All right, Lin Yi, we'll go back to being enemies when we get back to the inn. Next time, we'll fight again. Haha, next time, I hope so. Lin Yi knew that Naipeo was telling the truth. Naipeo had absorbed Chi-Chi's 5 malice chi, and Lin Yi had checked on him to see if there was anything wrong with him. Perhaps Chi-Chi had been a little tired these last 2 days and hadn't eaten much. That was why she'd been sleeping for so long. It had been a long time since someone had returned to the inn. Today, someone had suddenly returned. The cultivators in the inn were all very surprised. They didn't know who was so powerful that they could safely return from the savage land of 5 evils after 20 days. But when they saw that it was Naipeo, they all looked a little fearful. Their faces changed when they saw Lin Yi. It was said that Zhang Naipeo and Demon 8 had been killed by Lin Yi in the test. As for Naipeo coming back with Lin Yi, no one dared to ask, even though they were confused. Qi-Kun, Feng Spian, Li Siba, and Gu Xian, on the other hand, were surprised and happy to see Lin Yi back. Boss, you're back. The 4 of them walked out from the crowd to greet him. You 4 came out safely as well. Not bad. Lin Yi sighed in relief when he saw that his 4 lackeys were safe. Boss, why did Naipeo come back with you? Plus, wasn't he crazy? Qi-Kun asked, confused. It's a long story. Let's go back to the room and talk. Lin Yi waved his hand and pointed upstairs. Naipeo went back to his room, a little saddened. He could tell that the practitioners here were still very respectful towards him, but there was a hint of gloating in their eyes. Mo Ba and Mo Jio were done for, and he'd come here with 3 people, and only one had returned, and he'd almost lost himself in the process. Lin Yi went back to his room and put Chi-Chi on the bed before telling them everything that happened in the 5 malice wastelands, including why he had to save Naipeo. So it's because of Chi-Chi, Qi-Kun realized. Otherwise, with Lin Yi's personality, he would have killed Naipeo the moment he saw him go crazy. Why would he wake him up? Wasn't that unnecessary? Yeah, so I let him go for now. Lin Yi said, Are you guys all right? No one bullied you after I left, right? Chapter 2870. Oh, the young master of the sky elixir sect? What's he doing here? Lin Yi paused. Is he here to visit you alone, or he's here alone, but it's all about Zhang Naipeo. With that, Qi-Kun told Lin Yi about the silkworm transformation. The sky elixir sect is concerned about Zhang Naipeo. Lin Yi frowned. He didn't connect it to Tian-chan right away. After all, the silkworm transformation was very secretive. And from Qi-Kun's point of view, he was here to ask about Zhang Naipeo. His impression had affected Lin Yi as well. But after the shock, Lin Yi remembered what Tian-chan had said. Naipeo was someone her sect wanted her to find. Could it be that the Sky Elixir sect and 5 Elements sect had some sort of secret relationship. With that thought, Lin Yi felt that it was very possible Tian Chan was 100% from Five Element Sect, and since the Sky Elixir Sect came to ask Chiquan about Zhang Naipeo, then Tian Chan went back to Five Element Sect. It all made sense, but as Lin Yi saw it, Tian Chan volunteering to go back to Five Element Sect was for himself. This touched Lin Yi immensely. After all, Tian Chan only started thinking about Zhang Naipeo after finding Lin Yi. Yeah, what's wrong? Chiquan saw the change in Lin Yi's face. Nothing. Right. Has the Sky Elixir Sect's reward been announced yet? Lin Yi asked. Not yet. It's already been registered. Boss, you have the medicine too, right? Go register it with the people from Sky Elixir. Don't miss it. Chiquan reminded. And I'll ask the innkeeper downstairs later. Lin Yi nodded. Zhang Naipeo's safe return was good news for both Sky Elixir and Five Elements, but Lin Yi's safe return wasn't good news at all. Tian Chan, why is Lin Yi and Zhang Naipeo together? Patriarch Black Earth originally thought that Lin Yi could die in the Five Evils savage land. That way, he wouldn't have to do anything and Taganlong's revenge would be avenged. Furthermore, Boss Bai wouldn't be able to say anything. What he didn't expect was that Lin Yi and Naipeo returned to the inn together. He'd have to ask Tian Chan about this. Uncle Xianxian, when I found Naipeo, he was with Lin Yi. They seemed to have reached some sort of agreement. Tian Chan said, I didn't ask much, and just brought them both out. Tian Chan's lie was specious. Even if Naipeo said anything afterwards, it didn't matter. He did indeed reach an agreement with Lin Yi. It's good that Lin Yi can come back safely. Otherwise, it'll be hard to explain to Big Brother. Patriarch Black Earth was happy from the bottom of his heart. If something really happened to Lin Yi, he wouldn't be able to explain it to Boss Bai. That's true. Ancestor Xianxian couldn't say anything more. He waved his hand and said, Tian Chan, you've worked hard this time. Go back and find Kong Xiaoming. Tell him that I'm looking for him. Yes. Tian Chan cupped her fists and left the room. She was relieved that Patriarch Black Earth didn't ask for more details. After Tian Chan left, Patriarch Black Earth also got up and left. He didn't like Kong Ming Ming very much. Patriarch Black Earth was looking for Kong Ming Ming just to take him in as a disciple. Patriarch Black Earth wasn't willing to participate in those things. After a while, Kong Ming Ming walked into Patriarch Black Earth's room, respectfully under Little Peach's lead. Disciple Kong Ming Ming greets Master. Kong Ming Ming knelt on the ground as soon as he entered. It was as if he was meeting the Emperor of the past. He kowtowed 3 times and bowed 9 times. He was as respectful as he could be. Oh, Xiaoming, get up. Patriarch Black Earth was very satisfied with Kong Ming Ming's actions. Thank you, Master. Kong Ming Ming stood up and carefully stood beside Patriarch Black Earth. Xiaoming, I asked you to come this time because I wanted to ask you, what kind of martial arts do you want to learn? Patriarch Black Earth didn't really care much about this disciple in name, but Kong Ming Ming was very respectful to him and was also an elder of the Heavenly Elixir Sect. Therefore, Patriarch Black Earth planned to train him and let him become his spokesperson in the Heavenly Elixir Sect. Master, whatever you want to teach me, I will learn. I don't dare to be picky. Kong Ming Ming was ecstatic and said quickly, he was a mid-stage heaven stage expert, but he was just an alchemist. He didn't have the strength to fight, especially when he stood in front of Lin Yi as a heaven stage expert. He was also threatened by Lin Yi and forced to agree to some unfair treaties. This made Kong Ming Ming very sullen and helpless. Therefore, he desired strength more than any alchemist. Very good, but although you said that I saw a strong desire in your eyes, Patriarch Black Earth said lightly, this... Kong Ming Ming suddenly blushed. I don't like people lying in front of me. Tell me the truth. What do you want to learn? Patriarch Black Earth asked with a solemn expression. I want to learn powerful martial arts. The more powerful, the better. Kong Ming Ming gritted his teeth and said, Not bad. You're finally telling the truth. Patriarch Black Earth nodded and asked, Why? Because I want to surpass Lin Yi. I want revenge. I want to kill Lin Yi. Kong Ming Ming knew Patriarch Black Earth's character, so he planned to tell the truth. He was gambling that the truth would make Patriarch Black Earth look at him in a different light and teach him powerful martial arts. Oh, when Patriarch Black Earth heard the name Lin Yi, his expression changed slightly. He was a little surprised. You have a grudge with that Lin Yi? That's right. Kong Ming Ming nodded and said, Last time, I went to exchange the marrow and bone cleansing pill recipe with Lin Yi. I wanted to humiliate him, but I didn't expect that I wasn't his opponent. Instead, I was humiliated by him. Oh. You have a grudge before? Patriarch Black Earth asked with interest after hearing that. Yes, Master. It's like this. Kong Ming Ming didn't expect Patriarch Black Earth to be interested in the grudge between him and Lin Yi, so he didn't hide it and recounted the grudge between him and Lin Yi to Patriarch Black Earth in detail. I didn't know that, Kong Ming Ming. You're quite sarcastic. You're really a sarcastic person. Patriarch Black Earth looked at Kong Ming Ming and said with a laugh, Although you didn't succeed in doing these things, it's enough to prove that you're a person full of evil tricks. Chapter 2871. No, when I, Patriarch Xianchen, accept a disciple, the most important thing is character. Patriarch Xianchen waved his hand and said, Master, I will definitely change in the future and be an upright person. Kong Ming Ming was shocked and quickly said, No, you misunderstood. I mean, when I accept disciples, I like people like you the most. You are not bad, but you are very immoral, which is exactly what I like. Originally, I only wanted to accept you as a nominal disciple, but you succeeded in making me look at you in a different light. I am going to accept you as an official disciple. Patriarch Xianchen said, Ah. After hearing Patriarch Xuanchen's words, Kong Ming Ming was a little dumbfounded. He never thought that his bad ideas would actually become an advantage, and he actually made Patriarch Xianchen accept him as an official disciple. Was he dreaming? Kong Ming Ming, are you not willing? Patriarch Xianchen asked lightly. Master, I am willing. Kong Ming Ming was surprised and happy. He quickly knelt on the ground and kowtowed. Master, I will definitely carry forward my character in the future and strive to help Master do more bad things. Well, get up. By the way, I also have a grudge against Lin Yi. Patriarch Xianchen was thinking whether he could use Kong Ming Ming to kill Lin Yi. Because of Boss Bai, it was not good for him to attack Lin Yi, but Kong Ming Ming was different. Kong Ming Ming and Lin Yi originally had a grudge. If Kong Ming Ming directly attacked, even if Boss Bai suspected that he was the instigator, there would be no evidence. This was a way to get the best of both worlds. What? Master, isn't it as easy as pinching an ant for Master to kill that insignificant Lin Yi? Why don't you attack him? Kong Ming Ming was a little strange. In his opinion, no matter how powerful Lin Yi was, he could not compete with the Five Elements sect. There are some reasons for this that I won't talk about. In short, I can't attack him directly. Patriarch Xianchen waved his hand and said, Let's not talk about Lin Yi's matter for now. Let's talk about you first. Originally, I wanted to teach you a random martial technique, but since you've officially become my disciple, I'll teach you some powerful martial techniques. Thank you, Master. Kong Ming Ming quickly expressed his gratitude. The martial skill I'm going to teach you is called Pill Firebomb. Patriarch Black Earth enunciated each word clearly. Pill Flame Bomb. When Kong Ming Ming heard the name of this martial skill, he was slightly stunned. Master, this pill firebomb doesn't sound very powerful. It doesn't sound very powerful, but when it's used, it's very powerful. Patriarch Xianqian waved his hand and said, "This martial skill was invented by my master. Only alchemists can activate it. However, in my sect, no one else knows about it other than me. I'm teaching you because you're the only alchemist among my disciples. Secondly, I like your temperament very much. That's why I'm teaching you this pill firebomb." "Ah, thank you, Master, for thinking so highly of me." When Kong Ming heard Patriarch Black Earth's explanation, he realized that this was definitely a very powerful martial skill. Otherwise, Patriarch Black Earth would not have hidden it from others. Yes, this martial skill is not difficult, but it's not easy either. It's just that most people can't think of it. Patriarch Black Earth said, "Actually, it's the process of condensing the pill fire into a process of activating the martial skill. The pill fire is turned into a martial skill and released to fight against the enemy." "Oh, it's using the pill fire to burn others?" Kong Ming roughly understood and asked, "More or less, but not completely." Patriarch Black Earth shook his head and said, "You need to circulate the pill fire condensation chant, but you have to circulate it continuously. You don't condense the pill fire into a substance, but you have to compress it in your hand. In the end, it will form a compressed fireball. Then you will use the martial skill mantra to activate it in an instant, and it will become a pill firebomb. It will instantly form a flame explosion. This way, it can have the effect of injuring the enemy." "Oh, so powerful?" Kong Ming asked in surprise. "Master, is this pill firebomb very powerful? Come with me." Patriarch Black Earth did not explain further. Instead, he prepared to demonstrate it with actual action and tell Kong Ming how powerful this pill firebomb was. Yes, Patriarch Black Earth walked out of the room, and Kong Ming hurriedly followed him out of the room and into the courtyard behind the courtyard. Kong Ming, watch carefully. After Patriarch Black Earth said that, he began to circulate the pill fire condensation chant and began to compress the pill fire in his hand. Kong Ming stood at the side and stared at Patriarch Black Earth. However, he only saw Patriarch Black Earth standing there and did not activate the martial skill. Kong Ming waited for a while and was a little anxious. He did not dare to ask and could only wait patiently at the side. "Watch carefully. I will activate a small pill firebomb first." Just as Kong Ming was a little impatient, Patriarch Black Earth finally spoke. He suddenly raised his right hand and pushed it out, pointing at a fake mountain not far away. Whoosh, boom! A huge red fireball was suddenly released from the palm of the Xianqian ancestor's right hand, smashing towards the peak of the fake mountain. Immediately, there was a thunderous explosion. On top of the fake mountain, half of the mountain peak was completely blown into pieces. In an instant, sand and stones filled the entire backyard. The sky was filled with gravel and the residual heat from the fireball's explosion. Kong Xiaoming was dumbfounded and inexplicably shocked. Patriarch Black Earth looked at the wide-eyed Kong Ming and was very satisfied with his current expression. He asked indifferently, "How is it?" "Not bad, right?" "That's amazing. Lord Master, this pill firebomb is almost the same as a real cannonball. It actually has such great power. Didn't it kill people?" Kong Ming recovered and said excitedly, "This is just the power of a small pill firebomb. I have a limited time to condense it. If there is enough time, I can condense an even more powerful pill firebomb." Patriarch Black Earth laughed. He enjoyed Kong Ming's praise very much. "Ah, this is only a small one? It can be even more powerful?" Kong Ming was even more excited after hearing that. The small pill firebomb was already so powerful. How powerful would the big one be? Chapter 2872. It's okay. This martial art technique is so powerful. In comparison, this is not a flaw at all. Master, please teach me quickly. Kong Ming Ming said impatiently. Yes, but there are still some things to take note of about this martial art technique that I have to tell you. Patriarch Xianqian waved his hand and gestured for Kong Ming Ming to calm down. This martial art technique is a pill-fire martial art technique. So, apart from the flaw in the activation time, there is another flaw. That is, it is ineffective against cultivators with ice and fog attributes. No matter how big the pill firebomb is, it will not be able to harm cultivators with these two attributes. Oh, Kong Xiaoming paused. He knew a bit about the real and virtual attributes. His fire attribute was virtual, created by the blazing flame pellet, but he didn't care too much about it. But there are very few ice and fog attribute practitioners, so it's not a big deal. Kong Xiaoming didn't think too much about it. Yes, that is true. However, there is one more thing to take note of. That is, the pill firebomb condensed by the fire attribute pillfire is also ineffective against cultivators with water attributes. Patriarch Xianqian said, Ah, Master, then why don't you just say that this pill firebomb is ineffective against water, ice, and mist attribute cultivators? Isn't that enough? Why do you have to say it separately? Kong Ming Ming was a little confused. This is different. I am talking about the vital energy bomb condensed by the fire attribute pill fire, but it does not include the pill fire condensed by the water attribute pill fire. Patriarch Xianqian waved his hand and explained, cultivators with ice and fog attributes are immune to the pill fire condensed by the fire attribute pill fire. However, the pill fire condensed by the water attribute pill fire is ineffective against cultivators with earth attributes. Master, I understand. This is the principle of metal restraining wood, wood restraining earth, earth restraining water, water restraining fire, and fire restraining metal, right? Kong Ming Ming was not stupid. He immediately figured out the principle. That's right. The alchemic fire bombs condensed from these attributes all have cultivators who are immune to them. So, you have to act according to the person. You can't blindly activate the alchemic fire bomb. The Xianqian ancestor nodded in satisfaction. He was very satisfied with Kong Xiaoming's comprehension. That Lin, he should be a fire and wood attribute cultivator, right? I heard that he is also an alchemist. Kong Ming Ming thought for a moment and said, then I will use the fire attribute pill fire to form a pill fire. That should be enough to deal with him. This should be, what kinds of pill fire can you condense now? Patriarch Xianqian asked. Reporting to Master, I can condense the fire attribute and would attribute pill fire now. I haven't tried the others. Kong Ming Ming answered truthfully. Oh, not bad. But from now on, you have to start trying to condense the fire of other attributes. Patriarch Xianqian nodded and said, you don't have to be too familiar with it. As long as you can successfully condense it, you can continue condensing it. You don't have to consider changing the intensity and temperature of the fire because you are not using it for alchemy. You are only using it to activate the pill fire bomb. Of course, the higher the intensity and temperature of the fire, the faster the speed of condensation. Therefore, it is also beneficial to be familiar with it. Yes, Master. I understand. I will immediately go back and study hard. Kong Ming Ming hurriedly said, well, you are not busy. You are one of the elders in charge of this trial. There is still the matter of the trial rewards and awards. It is not too late to practice after you are done, Patriarch Xianqian said lightly. Yes, Master. Kong Ming Ming cupped his fists and said, after saying goodbye. Kong Ming Ming went to take care of the Sky Elixir trial. However, when Kong Ming Ming saw that Lin Yi's name had been added to the list of people who had passed, he was instantly enraged. He didn't think that Lin Yi would actually make it out. He thought that Lin Yi had died in the Five Evils Wildlands, but Lin Yi had actually returned to the Sky Elixir in safely after 20 days of the trial. He even got the pill for the trial and reported the results of his trial to Shopkeeper Sunday. Shopkeeper Sun didn't have the authority to do so, and while the two were the last to pass the test, he didn't have the authority to judge whether or not the two had the qualifications to pass the test, and so he had to report this to Silkworm Transformation. Tian Chan naturally wouldn't obstruct this matter. Putting aside her relationship with Lin Yi, even Zhang Naipeo was someone that the Xianqian elder valued. There was no need for her to stop them. So she directly added their names to the list. However, Kong Mingming wasn't so happy Lin Yi wasn't dead, but he actually passed the trial and got the reward. Kong Mingming sighed and decided to ask Silkworm Transformation to see if they could disqualify Lin Yi from passing the trial. Little Peach reported that Kong Mingming wanted to see her, and Tian Chan didn't stop him. She waved her hand and had Little Peach bring him in. Little Ming greets the young master. Kong Mingming had the Xianqian elder as his master, but he knew that he still had to stay in the Sky Elixir sect if he didn't kiss up to Silkworm Transformation and make things difficult for him. There was nothing he could do. If the Xianqian elder thought that he wasn't good enough, then he'd be in deep trouble. Oh, it's Little Ming. What's the matter? Tian Chan looked at Kong Mingming and asked calmly. Compared to the Tian Chan in the Five Evils Wildlands, she was like a completely different person. Now that she was back in the Sky Elixir sect, she was no longer Tian Chan, but the cold Silkworm Transformation. Young master, I'm here for the list of winners of the Sky Elixir sect's trial. You see, Lin Yi came back after the trial was over. He has already passed the trial's maximum time limit of 20 days. Should we cancel his qualification to pass the trial? Kong Mingming suggested. Since Lin Yi didn't die, he wouldn't let Lin Yi have an easy time. Oh, I'm the one who decided this. As long as the trial taker gets the elixir, he passes the trial. The time doesn't matter. Tian Chan said calmly. Little Ming, is there anything else? Kong Mingming was stunned. He didn't expect that Tian Chan would reject his proposal directly. He was a little unwilling, but he didn't dare to argue with Tian Chan. He could only persuade her. Young master, Lin Yi is the enemy of our Sky Elixir sect. My master, Xianqian elder, hates him very much. Let's set him up to help my master vent his hatred. Chapter 2873. As I said, this is my decision. The name list has been sent out, Tian Chan said. I see, but we are not willing to give Lin Yi a third-grade elixir. We have paid so much to exchange the elixir formula with him. Kong Mingming pretended to be regretful and said, how about we give him the elixir on the surface, but secretly send someone to snatch it back? In this way, not only will we not lose face, but we can also reduce the loss of our heavenly elixir sect and help my master vent his anger. What, Little Ming, do you think that you can criticize the affairs of the heavenly elixir sect just because you are my junior brother? Or do you want to usurp power? Tian Chan's eyes became fierce. She looked at Kong Mingming coldly, and her voice became bone-chilling. Under the cliff of the Five Fiends mountain range, he had 2 third-grade recover pills with him, but Lin Yi did not take any of them secretly. At this moment, Tian Chan let Lin Yi pass the trial, but he deserved it. How could she let Tian Chan rob Lin Yi again? No, Kong Mingming suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. He found that he was indeed a little complacent and eager for revenge. He forgot the strict rules of the heavenly elixir sect. Although he was the disciple of ancestor Xianqian, how could he be compared with the heavenly silkworm transformation? Elder Kong, I know you are doing this for the good of the heavenly elixir sect. However, the heavenly elixir sect holds a trial for the participants to earn money for the sect and obtain elixirs at the same time. If the Heavenly Elixir sect continues to do such shady things behind the scenes, then who would want to participate in the trial in the future? Tian Chan's tone softened as she said, "You can leave now. I have my own plans." "Yes. Thank you for your understanding." Kong Ming Ming wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and said carefully. Kong Ming Ming carefully left the silkworm transformation room. He was very unwilling. Although Lin Yi had gotten the pill, he had exceeded the time limit. It was normal for him to be disqualified. The others couldn't say anything. Why didn't the silkworm transformation agree? Thinking of this, Kong Ming Ming decided to look for Patriarch Xianchen again. Patriarch Xianchen hated Lin Yi. He believed that as long as Kong Ming Ming explained the reason, Patriarch Xianchen would definitely agree. As long as Patriarch Xianchen gave the word, even the heavenly silkworm transformation would be helpless. When he arrived at Patriarch Black Earth's room again, Kong Ming Ming knocked on the door. "Who?" Patriarch Black Earth asked. "Master, it's me," Kong Ming Ming said carefully. "Kong Ming Ming, why are you back again?" Patriarch Black Earth was a little puzzled when he heard Kong Ming Ming's voice. He didn't know why Kong Ming Ming had returned. "Master, I have something to report to you. Do you have time?" Kong Xiaoming walked in and asked with fear and trepidation. "Oh, go ahead. You and I are master and disciple. If there's anything, just report it. There's no need to ask anymore." Patriarch Black Earth waved his hand and said, "Yes." Kong Ming Ming was surprised and happy. He nodded and said, "It's like this. Lin Yi also passed the trial, but I feel that he was the last to come out. He has already exceeded the 20-day limit. Should we disqualify him from the trial? You should talk to the young master of the silkworm transformation about this, not me. Although I'm your master and the uncle master of the silkworm transformation, I won't interfere with other sex affairs." Patriarch Black Earth waved his hand and said, "You can suggest this to the silkworm transformation directly. There's no need to ask me." "Master, I have asked, but I don't know why the young master didn't agree. I had no choice but to tell you." Kong Ming Ming smiled bitterly and said, "Lin Yi is our enemy. I'm also thinking about the sect, but the young master also has his reasons." He said, Kong Ming Ming didn't dare to sow discord. He just told the truth and told Patriarch Black Earth the reason for the silkworm transformation. "Oh, I'll talk to him about this." Patriarch Black Earth listened to Kong Ming Ming's explanation. Although he felt that the silkworm transformation was for the reputation of the Heavenly Elixir Sect's trial, there was also a reason to disqualify Lin Yi. He had exceeded the time limit of the trial. Master's wise. Only Master can talk to the young master about this. Kong Xiaoming was overjoyed when he heard this, and Little Peach, Patriarch Black Earth then called out. The voice of a heaven stage expert didn't need to be loud, but it was extremely penetrating. Although Little Peach wasn't at the door, she heard it. Little Peach rushed over and asked carefully, "Patriarch Black Earth, may I ask why you are looking for Little Peach?" "Go and ask the silkworm transformation to come here. I have something to talk to him about," Patriarch Black Earth ordered. "Yes," Little Peach quickly responded and turned to look for the silkworm transformation. Not long after, Tian Chan came to Patriarch Black Earth's room and saw that Kong Ming Ming was also here. She couldn't help but be a little surprised, but she didn't ask. She just asked respectfully, "Martial Uncle, why are you looking for me?" "It's like this. I asked Kong Ming Ming to ask you how Lin Yi obtained the qualification to pass the trial." Patriarch Black Earth wasn't an idiot. He took all the responsibility on himself and excluded Kong Ming Ming. He only said that he had sent Kong Ming Ming to ask. Tian Chan was slightly taken aback. She didn't expect Patriarch Black Earth to personally ask about this matter. However, Tian Chan had been in a high position for a long time and quickly thought of a countermeasure. She explained calmly, "Martial Uncle, Zhang Naipeo, who came back with Lin Yi, also passed the trial. If Lin Yi's qualification is revoked, then Zhang Naipeo's qualification will also be revoked. In this way, on your side. Oh, there's also Zhang Naipeo. Patriarch Black Earth suddenly understood and nodded. I understand. Silkworm transformation, you can go back. This matter is settled. They have all passed the trial. Okay. Martial Uncle, Tian Chan nodded. Then I will take my leave. Okay. Go do what you need to do. Patriarch Black Earth didn't say anything more. After Silkworm transformation left, Kong Mingming was a little confused, but it wasn't appropriate for him to ask. He just looked at Patriarch Black Earth strangely. Kong Mingming, things aren't as simple as you think. Lin Yi is fine, but Zhang Naipeo has the everyday and everyday sect behind him. I need to use them in the future. It's necessary to give them some benefits. It's not worth going against the everyday and everyday sect for these small things, Patriarch Black Earth said. Chapter 2874. I know you're eager to take revenge on Lin Yi, but this isn't just about Lin Yi. The sky's silk transformation has its own reasons. Don't always come to complain. I can protect you this time, but she might suspect something the next time. At the end of the day, you still have to work for the Sky Elixir sect, the Xianqian Elder warned Kong Mingming. Yes, I won't do it again. Thank you, Master, for covering for me. Kong Mingming said quickly. And, right, didn't you have a lot of tricks up your sleeve? Tell me, can we change the way we deal with Lin Yi? The Xianqian Elder didn't have anything else to do, and since Kong Mingming was here, he decided to discuss with him. This is the only thing I can think of. Kong Mingming scratched his head, unable to think of any good ideas. We've already promised to make a chi-gathering pill for him. And we still have to make the Ice Heart Jade Bone pill. That's too good for him. That's right, Lord Master. Can we do something to the elixir? For example, make a poison pill and kill Lin Yi. Poison pill? That's not possible. Lin Yi isn't an idiot. How could he not know if we poison him? Don't forget why he went against House Kong in the first place. He's a powerful doctor and elixir refiner. It's basically impossible for you to use poison. The Xianqian Elder shook his head. That's true. Then Kong Mingming really couldn't think of any other ideas. That's right. Now that you've reminded me, I suddenly thought of a pill recipe. This method is really feasible. The Xianqian Elder suddenly had an idea and said, I have a very bad recipe. It's called the Extreme Qi Gathering Pill. It's also a type of qi gathering pill. And it was also modified by my master Zhang Liju based on the ancient true qi gathering pill, turning it into a third-level pill, but there was a huge flaw. Therefore, it was thrown aside and never used again. Oh, what effects? Kong Mingming quickly asked. It's like this. This extreme qi gathering pill has the effect of leveling up a qi gathering pill, and it can also unleash the potential of the cultivator. While the cultivator absorbs the pure energy in the pill, he must also absorb a large amount of heaven and earth spirit qi. The effect is also much greater than that of a normal qi gathering pill. He can continuously break through and level up, Patriarch Xianqian explained. Ah, Honorable Master, forgive your disciple for being slow-witted. This extreme qi gathering pill is a super good pill. How can you say it's a bad pill? It's not bad at all. After eating it, you can level up continuously. How can you give such a good thing to Lin Yi? Kong Mingming asked curiously. I'm not done yet. Patriarch Xianqian waved his hand, indicating for Kong Mingming to listen slowly. He continued, I've already said that after taking this extreme qi gathering pill, you must absorb a large amount of heaven and earth spirit qi. If you don't absorb enough, you will suffer a backlash. If it's light, your meridians will break. If it's heavy, your body will explode. This What if Lin Yi absorbs the heaven and earth spirit chi? Kong Mingming felt that this pill was indeed flawed, but this was only one of the possibilities. Do you think there's still a place that can absorb so much heaven and earth spirit chi now? It's no longer possible in my master's era. Even the chi density in the Five Evils land is not enough. Where would Lin Yi go to absorb that heaven and earth spirit chi? If he can't, Patriarch Xianqin laughed sinisterly. That's right, Honorable Master is still the best. You've thought of such a vicious method. It seems that the older, the wiser. After Kong Mingming heard this, he praised excitedly. Honorable Master, your idea is wonderful. This pill looks good on the surface, but it's actually a poison. Most importantly, although the refining materials required for the extreme chi gathering pill and the extreme chi gathering pill are not the same after it's refined, whether it's color or fragrance, it's almost the same. There's no difference. Patriarch Xianqin said, after Lin Yi gets it, he shouldn't have any doubts. That's great. Kong Mingming chuckled. Honorable Master, when do we start refining it? If you want to refine it, you have to prepare. This extreme chi gathering pill requires a lot of heaven and earth treasures. It also requires the materials of the chi gathering pill. However, it's not one portion but 3 portions to produce one pill. When Patriarch Xianqin said this, he felt a little heartache. I actually need to invest so much to trick Lin Yi. I'm really a little unwilling. Honorable Master, as the saying goes, you can't catch the wolf if you don't sacrifice the child. We can't kill Lin Yi if we don't sacrifice the medicinal materials. Kong Mingming comforted. But the difficulty and time of this refining is also relatively high. You should study it and refine it yourself. My alchemy skills are average, so I can only leave this matter to you. Patriarch Xianqin said, Don't worry, Honorable Master. In the future, I will focus on refining this extreme chi gathering pill. Don't worry, I won't let you down. Kong Mingming quickly patted his chest and promised. Refining this extreme chi gathering pill seemed to be very difficult, but for the sake of dealing with Lin Yi, Kong Mingming decided to grit his teeth and persevere. In fact, after Patriarch Xianqin said this, he felt a pain in his heartache. So many materials. The 5 Elements sect was rich, but they were basically running out of resources. If it weren't for Boss Bai there, he wouldn't be able to fight Lin Yi head-on. He wouldn't have used this method to deal with Lin Yi. But this was a good method. It killed without a trace, and so the Xianqin ancestor grit his teeth and agreed. After Lin Yi gave his pill to shopkeeper's son, he went back to his room to wait for news. When he got back, he saw that Chi-Chi was awake. Chi-Kun, Feng Shuiyan, Li Siba, and Gus Xian had already left. Chi-Chi woke up to find no one in the room. She was a little lost. She didn't know how she came to this place. She remembered that she was under the cliff of the 5 Fiends Mountains. Could it be that she and Lin Yi were saved? Chi-Chi didn't remember what happened before she fainted. Her mind wasn't clear at the time, and she couldn't remember what had happened. Was it Lin Yi who saved her? Chi-Chi was still in a daze when the door opened. She looked at the door cautiously, but the person who came in was Lin Yi. Chapter 2875. It had been a long time since they reunited, and the emotions Lin Yi had been suppressing for so long were released in an instant. Lin Yi wasn't in the mood to feel the joy of this reunion when Chi-Chi was unconscious, but now was different. Lin Yi couldn't help but rush over and hug Chi-Chi on the bed. It was an instinctive action when Lin Yi was training alone. Yang Xiao or Xiao Qi would always be waiting for him on the way back. Lin Yi would always give her a hug whenever he saw her. A hug didn't mean anything to a childhood sweetheart. It was just the joy of seeing Yang Xiao. And it was the same for Lin Yi right now. The moment he recognized Chi-Chi, he subconsciously did something he hadn't done in a long time. Chi-Chi wasn't expecting Lin Yi to throw himself at her the moment he stepped in. Was he trying to push her down? Chi-Chi only realized then that this was Lin Yi's room. What was he doing? Chi-Chi sent a kick at Lin Yi, yelling, what are you doing? You pervert! Ugh. Lin Yi's arms that were about to hug, Chi-Chi froze in midair. He looked at Chi-Chi, stunned, not even bothering to dodge the kick. Chi-Chi's kick didn't hurt anyway. She wasn't Tian Chan, and Lin Yi didn't need to be on guard. One kick wouldn't kill him. Lin Yi, what are you doing? Chi-Chi glared at Lin Yi. She remembered how Lin Yi roasted fish for her under the cliff, and she thought that Lin Yi was a very, very nice person. If her heart wasn't already occupied by that person, she might actually fall in love with Lin Yi. But now Lin Yi was doing something so vulgar to her. All of the good impression Chi-Chi had of Lin Yi was gone. All that was left was anger and frustration. Lin Yi slapped his forehead, suddenly remembering that Chi-Chi was still in a daze when they reunited. She probably couldn't tell if it was a dream or reality. Now that she was awake, naturally, she didn't know that he was her Lil Yi big bro. It was no wonder that she was pissed at him for hugging her so abruptly. Thus, Lin Yi smiled bitterly and quickly said, "Little Seven, you don't recognize me?" "I do." Chi-Chi was taken aback by Lin Yi's question. Why was Lin Yi asking something like this all of a sudden? Could it be that something had happened after he and I came out from the cliff? Did he lose his memory? Otherwise, why would Lin Yi ask this? Could it be that she had forgotten something? These were things that happened when she was with Lin Yi? Chi-Chi frowned, but that didn't make sense. She already had that person in her heart. How could she accept Lin Yi? You know him? Lin Yi blinked. Then Lin Yi, what happened? Chi-Chi calmed down. As well, she was an assassin, and she was very good at reading people's expressions. Lin Yi's surprise and bitter smile didn't seem fake, so she asked carefully after some hesitation. Lil Chi, it's been so many years. Have you heard from Master? Lin Yi didn't know how to explain his identity, so he changed his approach. Master, Chi-Chi paused. Your master. Is Master Wang all right? Why would she let you come out alone? Lin Yi continued. Why were you? Chi-Chi's eyes went wide as she stared at Lin Yi in disbelief. Lin Yi's words before were a bit out of the ordinary, but this one was very obvious. Master Wang. Her mother's surname was Wang, too, and Lin Yi said that she let him come out alone. Then who was Lin Yi? You went to the Dragon of Five Wrath to cure the 9th princess? Her illness, you found a way? Lin Yi ignored Chi-Chi's surprised face and continued to ask, who are you? Chi-Chi looked at Lin Yi as if she'd seen a ghost. I thought you remembered when I was roasting the mud fish for you. You remembered what happened on the island when we were kids. Lin Yi smiled. You're bro? Chi-Chi looked at Lin Yi, shocked. It wasn't as if she hadn't thought that Lin Yi was her bro when he said those things, but the image of Lin Yi had always been too different from bro plus. Chi-Chi didn't treat him well at first, so she'd forgotten about it. But now that she thought about it, Lin Yi wasn't that person. Only that person would know these things about him. Only that person would know about the memories that belonged to the two of them on the deserted island. Only that person would call him Little Seven and hug him when he saw him. Haha, I didn't think that you'd be Xiao Qi sis either. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. He had to admit that this was a bit of a cliché, but childhood playmates were too different in appearance. Who would have thought that it would be a coincidence like this? Why didn't you say so earlier? Chi-Chi jumped up from the bed and jumped into Lin Yi's arms, feeling the warmth of his embrace. She cried tears of joy. That's great. I don't have to kill you anymore. Puffed. Lin Yi almost burst out laughing at Chi-Chi's words. What was this cool girl thinking? It's still about killing me? I'm sorry, bro. I didn't know you were Lin Yi. That's why I wanted to kill you. I was so mean to you before, and you were so nice to me. Xiao Qi is so bad. Chi-Chi cried in Lin Yi's arms. Bad? I didn't think that you'd want to kill me because of me. I've thought it through now, and I won't blame you. Lin Yi's words sounded like a mistake, but they both knew what he meant. But Lin Yi was a bit shaken as well. There were some things he didn't say. He really didn't think that his childhood sweetheart would have that kind of feelings for him. Lin Yi had always treated Xiao Qi as his sister and didn't think too much about it. He just wanted to protect her, to take care of her. But now Lin Yi didn't say anything. Chapter 2876. Yeah. Chi-Chi felt like the knot in her heart was unraveled. As long as Lin Yi understood, she didn't need to explain anything anymore. Chi-Chi couldn't find the words to express what she was feeling right now. Some of the old sayings really did make sense. The person she'd been thinking about all this time was actually right beside her, helping her, saving her. They didn't know it at the time, but thinking about it now was a different kind of feeling. Can you answer my questions now? Lin Yi hugged Chi-Chi for a long time. Chi-Chi didn't say anything, so he asked, Chi-Chi blinked, blushing a little. Yeah, there's still no news from my father. He hasn't contacted us. My mom and the others are worried, but they haven't been able to get in touch with my dad. My family's fine, but my dad's power and influence aren't what they used to be after he left. Plus, he didn't leave any connections in the practitioner world either. And that's why I've been working so hard to find medicine for Lil Nine. I see. Lin Yi nodded. It was true. His Shifu was famous in the common world of assassins, but he didn't leave any connections in the practitioner world for Lin Yi. This was also why Lin Yi was working so hard these days. If he had a sect like Zhang Naipeo's, then Lin Yi wouldn't need to work so hard, going through such a dangerous test just for the Qi-gathering pill and the Ice Heart Jade Bone pill. Lil Nine, how is she? From what you've been doing, it seems like it's pretty serious. Yeah, the medicine I got from the practitioner's market failed, so I had to look for something related to earth elements. The dragon of 5 wraiths is a spirit beast of the 5 elements, and its claws are earth elements. That's why I'm here, Chi-Chi said. Lil Nine's problem. I'm not too sure myself. I've asked someone from the association to look into it, and they said that it's because there's too much earth element in her body, and she hasn't activated it yet. At first she couldn't walk, but now it's getting worse and worse, and her entire lower body is limp like a pile of mud. It's getting worse and worse, and if it's not treated in time, it'll be like soft bones. Soft bones? Lin Yi blinked, but he was sure that Lil Nine wasn't soft bones. Even old Lin couldn't tell what the problem was. How could it be soft bones? But there was one thing that made Lin Yi curious. Why did the Earth Spirit Beast medicine fail? After all, the Overseas Cultivators Association is different from the birthplace of martial arts cultivation here. Although there are experts there, they are not very clear about some of the ancient legends. At the beginning, they also came to the conclusion after searching a lot of information. The earth element in Little Joe's body can be suppressed by something from the body of an earth attribute spirit beast. However, there is no correct way to suppress it and how to use the thing from the body of the spirit beast. We can only explore. Chi-Chi smiled bitterly. Last time, when I went back, I mixed some water to soak Lil Nine's body in, but it didn't work at all. Too much earth element. Lin Yi frowned. Why did this sound like Xiao Xiao? The only difference was that Xiao Xiao had too much of the yin element, while Lil Nine had too much of the earth element. But Lin Yi didn't know who to ask about this. The only people he could ask now were Boss Bai or Old Lin. With that thought, Lin Yi gave Boss Bai a call. After all, Old Lin knew about Little Joe's situation and had seen it before. He didn't have any good ideas, so Lin Yi decided to ask Boss Bai first. Boss Bai was surprised when he received Lin Yi's call. Aren't you in the test? Why are you calling? Did you run into some trouble? Master Bai, I did run into some trouble. Lin Yi said honestly. Are you free right now? Yes, what happened? Boss Bai's heart tightened. Lin Yi went to the Sky Elixir School's test. and he knew the relationship between the Five-Element School and the Sky Elixir School. He was afraid that the Five-Element School would work with the Sky Elixir School to harm Lin Yi. It's like this. As Lin Yi spoke, he told Boss Bai about Lil 9 in detail. Oh, Boss Bai didn't expect Lin Yi to look for him for this, but he was relieved. As long as Lin Yi wasn't in danger, he was relieved. According to what you said, my preliminary conclusion is that the Lil 9 you mentioned may be a cultivator with an Earth attribute physique, and his physique is very pure, but he lacks an opportunity to activate it. You said that using something from an Earth attribute spirit beast to activate it is indeed a way. Your situation is somewhat similar to an inheritor, but I don't know the specific method. If I was still in the Five-Element School, I could easily help you inquire. But now, although Boss Bai could ask the Xianzhen Great Ancestor, he had just asked the Xianzhen Great Ancestor about the virtual attribute and the true attribute. If he asked other things and the Xianzhen Great Ancestor went to look for information again, it would inevitably be discovered and suspected by the Xianzhen Great Ancestor. That would be bad. I see. After hearing that, Lin Yi was a bit disappointed. Mr. Bai, this person is very important to me. What do you think? How about this? After a period of time, I'll ask Xianzhen again and see if he has any ideas. Boss Bai pondered and said, Thank you, Mr. Bai. Lin Yi also knew that the conversation between Boss Bai and the Xianzhen Great Ancestor was very difficult, and it was inevitable that the Xianzhen Great Ancestor would find out. If it wasn't for the fact that Lin Yi was very worried about Lil 9, he wouldn't have let Boss Bai take the risk. Ha ha, what are you thanking me for? Boss Bai smiled slightly. With our relationship, you're treating me like an outsider. And, Mr. Bai, there's another piece of good news I want to tell you. Lin Yi hesitated and decided to tell Boss Bai that he had successfully obtained the inheritance of the original power. He originally wanted to tell it after going back, but saying it now would make Boss Bai happy. Plus, Yang Qiqi wasn't an outsider. She was the closest person to Lin Yi since he was young. Chapter 2877. That's true, but there's an even better piece of news. Lin Yi didn't let Boss Bai continue guessing and said directly, I've successfully obtained the inheritance of the origin power. Oh, you've successfully obtained the inheritance of the origin power? What do you mean? Boss Bai didn't understand Lin Yi's words for a moment. After all, it was a bit too shocking, and Boss Bai didn't dare to think about it at all. That's right. 5 of the virtual attributes in my body have become real attributes, Lin Yi explained. Metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, but not ice and mist. What? You've successfully obtained the inheritance of the origin power? In the trial? Or? Boss Bai finally understood Lin Yi's words and was inexplicably shocked. He never thought that Lin Yi would actually accept the inheritance of the origin power, and it was the inheritance of the origin power of all 5 elements. Yes, it was in the trial. Lin Yi didn't hide anything and recounted what happened in the trial to Boss Bai in detail. Although Tian Chan's coquettish behavior was omitted, Boss Bai could still hear that Tian Chan was special to Lin Yi. You stole her inheritance, and she came back to save you? Boss Bai was a bit stunned, but then he shook his head, thinking that this girl was really stupid. According to common sense, she was a great enemy, but she actually came to save Lin Yi and Yang Qiqi. The word love was really hard to understand. However, Boss Bai didn't want to study the matters of young people too much. He just said, if I'm not wrong, she's the spy of the 5 Elements sect. Tag On Long is the spy in the light, and the spy in the light was destroyed by you. You're really amazing. Lin Yi also didn't think that he and the 5 Elements sect were so fated. The plan of the Xianzhen ancestor was completely disrupted by him. This Xianzhen ancestor probably hated him to death, right? Congratulations. However, you'd better ask Tian Chan about Little 9. If she's really the spy of the Five Elements sect, then you can ask her. She'll know more. Boss Spy said. Oh, that's right. Lin Yi slapped his head. How could he forget about Tian-chan? He had just exchanged phone numbers with her. After hanging up, Lin Yi turned around to see Yang Qiqi looking at him with a resentful expression. Lin Yi's story with Tian-chan was very plain, but even Boss Spy could tell that something was wrong. How could Yang Qiqi not tell that there was something going on between Lin Yi and Tian-chan? Bro, that Tian-chan. Do you like her? Qiqi couldn't help but ask. Why are you suddenly asking this? Lin Yi was a little awkward. He'd just reunited with Qiqi after a long time. And while he'd always had some special feelings for her, it was something from when they were kids. Now that he thought about it, it was more like the feelings between siblings, wasn't it? However, Qiqi clearly didn't think of the feelings between the two as siblings. So, at this time, Lin Yi was a little embarrassed to tell the truth, but he couldn't lie to Qiqi, so he could only change the topic. Then, little Seven won't ask. Qiqi looked at Lin Yi's expression and guessed something in her heart. In her heart, there was no concept of monogamy because her own father had several wives. So, in Qiqi's education since childhood, no one deliberately instilled this concept. She was just a little jealous instinctively, but since Lin Yi didn't want to answer, she didn't ask more. She was afraid that if she asked more, it would make Lin Yi unhappy and affect the mood of their first meeting. Lin Yi blinked at Qiqi's response. He wasn't expecting Qiqi to stop asking just like that. Lin Yi was surprised. As long as Xiao Qi is in your heart, bro, Xiao Qi will be satisfied. Qiqi didn't want to lose this long-awaited happiness. She didn't even dare ask about Tian-chan's identity, afraid that Lin Yi would get angry. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. It's nothing. Actually, we're just good friends, I guess. I'll tell you if you want to hear it. No need. Qiqi shook her head. My mom said that girls shouldn't ask so much. I don't want bro to hate me. Ha ha. Lin Yi suddenly realized how cute Qiqi was right in front of him. That cool girl from before was pretty dumb when it came to relationships as well. Bro, hurry up and call that Tian-chan sis and ask about Lil Jiu, okay? Qiqi was more concerned about Lil Jiu's condition than jealousy. If Tian-chan could do something about it, then she wouldn't have any thoughts about Tian-chan at all. Yeah, I'll call her now. Lin Yi nodded and called Tian-chan's phone. It didn't take long for Tian-chan's phone to pick up, but no one picked up after a couple of rings. Lin Yi only put the phone down when there was no response. Could it be that Tian-chan didn't have her phone with her? Bro, it didn't go through? Qiqi asked, a little worried. She didn't pick up. Maybe she doesn't have her phone with her. Lin Yi said. Oh. Qiqi nodded. Let's wait then. She might call back when she sees it. Don't worry too much. Lin Yi comforted. He wasn't sure if Tian-chan would be able to call back. After all, Tian-chan was a spy of the Five Elements sect. That meant that she couldn't have as much freedom as the others. Yeah. Qiqi nodded. Right. Bro, why are you looking for rainbow steel, blue crystal powder, and pure yellow jade? I need these materials to make something like a weapon. Lin Yi didn't hide the fact that he might become a blacksmith in front of Qiqi. Right? Lil Qi, you said that there's a blue crystal up for auction. Is that right? That's right, there's a blue crystal, but I don't know when it'll be auctioned. I'll keep an eye out for it and let you know. Qiqi said. All right, I'll leave this to you then. I won't say any more words of thanks, Lin Yi said with a smile. Yeah, it's fine. Lil, she will keep an eye out for bro, Qiqi said quickly. I'll ask around for you when I get back. The two had just reunited, and naturally there were a lot of things to talk about. As for Tian-chan, Lin Yi's guess was right. Tian-chan really did run into something. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.